Yeah. And it is like, I'm like, you walk in, it's like Star Wars Mecca. Their gaming room. Yeah. Okay. You guys watch Rebels? Watch Rebels? Yeah. Yeah. A little bit.
I'm staring at you from afar. I'm wondering about you, like where you from and who you are. You see the sky, you're not the type to sweat the white lines. I'm in the type of like the nighttime. I heard you got a man who in their right mind letting you out the house alone. Tell me, is your house or home? Why you in the club looking like you out the zone? I think you put out your phone, put my number in. If I had my way, you would be more. A small town, I got big friends. Let's go to the bar, let me get some balls, and I'm telling you, my feet up in the bar. Stop always up the bar with the boy right song. Tell her how to keep you know about the put the lights on.
I think they put us in this
together to meet and greet the Ballers from the great city of Vancouver. Starting with the defense for the Storm. He's a 5'10", 205-pound junior, playing defensive end, number 24, Levi Webb. Standing 6 feet, tipping the scales at 195 pounds, senior linebacker, number 42, Eric Botman. At 6'1", 230-pound junior, defensive end, number 7, Ryan Tua. Playing inside linebacker, he's a 6'1", 220-pound junior, number 11, Caden Hamlin. A senior linebacker, standing 5'10" and weighing 205 pounds, number 33, Kellen Wiggins. At the outside linebacker position, he's a 5'10", 195-pound senior, number 10, Colby Warner. At the other outside linebacker position, he's a 6', 215-pound senior, number 4, Andrew Orioro. He's a senior wearing number 13, coming in at 5'10" and weighing 165 pounds, cornerback Jared Secor. At the other corner, he's a 6', 195-pound senior, number 2, Cameron Crooks. A junior free safety, standing 6'1", 165 pounds, number 29, Michael Robinson. And at safety, a senior wearing jersey number 1, coming in at 5'10", 165 pounds, Riley Artis. And now the starters. A senior standing at 6'4", 235 pounds, right tackle number 52, Alexander Setterstrom. A 6'6", 270-pound junior, left tackle number 71, Noah Thomas. A junior lineman standing 6 feet, 250 pounds, right guard number 73, Max Christensen. In his senior year, standing 6 feet, weighing 235 pounds, left guard number 77, Hunter Pierce. The man in the middle, standing 6'2", and weighing 250 pounds, in his junior year, center number 78, Owen McCall. At tight end, he's a 6'2", 205-pound senior, number 9, Gavin Poffenroth. At wide receiver, he's a 5'11", 180-pound junior, number 8, Gavin Packer. Wearing jersey number 1, he's a 5'10", 165-pound senior, Riley Artis. Starting at wide receiver, he's a 5'8", 165-pound senior, number 13, Jared Secor. At running back, he's a 5'8", 180-pound senior, number 3, Trey Jacobs. And at quarterback, he's a 6'2", 205-pound senior, you know the name, number 6, Jake Kennedy. Your head coach for the Storm is Steve Kaiser. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please stand and remove your hats to honor America by the playing of the national anthem, performed by the Skyview Band. Excellent job. Thank you, everybody.
Welcome to this VPS Game Time presentation of 4A
And
playoff
representing the
football.
Washington
Tonight, the
Officials
Bethel Bison arrive from the
Association,
South
please
Field
welcome
South
tonight's
League to take
officials.
on
Their
Skyview
experience and
School.
integrity qualify them
My name
to
is
administer
Nick
the rules of the game. Attitude of good sportsmanship to be upheld by all
Yeah, I
spectators.
can't wait. This is
Players
a
and
battle of
coaches.
two of the better teams this season. Obviously, Bethel struggled going down the stretch with 2 losses at the end. But that South Puget Sound League is full of some of the top teams in the state. I mean, Grand Cowsett is always a top 2 team. So it's not going to be a cakewalk for Skyview as they're coming in. They're the number 2
Please
team.
give
in
a
the
big
GSHL.
round
I
of
can't
applause
wait,
for our
for
game
this
managers
game.
here at the
We've got
Kiggins
some
Bowl.
really good players on
Keeping
both
everything
sides.
straight here.
Hopefully,
Jaquan
both
Thomas
teams are coming
and
out on
Dana
top.
Selvey.
A homer here on VPS Game Time.
I have owned it. I was a homer for Hawkinson. I will be a homer for Skyview. If you have a team, I will
It's
be a
playoff
homer for
time,
you.
Storm fans. You ready?
Or like just give me kickoff or something. I'll be homer for you whenever.
I'll work on the cookies part. I'm not sure about the payment.
I can't hear you. Are
But,
you ready?
we are excited to have you here tonight, Will. We're excited to see some great football. You see on your screen there, Skyview going to be kicking off tonight. Their kickoff specialist here is going to be, well, that's a different number than normal, so I don't have this person's number. I know we've seen Torrance Baker kicking off an awful lot this year. I don't believe that's Torrance. But there's maybe it is. There's a big boot deep right to almost to the goal line. That ball is dropped and now picked up. Skyview all over this ball, and they're going to take him down around the
And Gardino's kick.
so a bad
Picked
start
up
here
at the
for
2-yard
Bethel.
line
Kickoff.
of the Bison.
Skyview is going to start
Returned by
in
number
good
7,
defensive
Austin
position.
Miller.
Yeah, that's a huge mistake there by Bethel's front line. They didn't touch a single Skyview player as they came all the way through. Skyview, you can tell they're fired up.
Got a
They're jacked up,
5-yard
they're ready to
return
go.
on that
They
play.
know
Brings up
how
1st and
important it
10
is
for
to
the
win this,
Bison
first
at
game
their own
perhaps
7-yard line.
convincingly coming in to the state championship rounds, right? So that's a huge play there by the Storm. Don't let anyone hit you on the front line, and that's why there were 5 or so guys coming through.
So Bethel here coming to the line. It's going to be 1st and 10 on the 7-yard line. Bethel relying on a ground game a lot this year. Roy Lockley III, a featured back, averaging over 100 yards per game. So Skyview's going to have to key on him tonight, and already we've got a stoppage of some sort. Not sure what the reason is, but it looks like we're going to get back to action here, and we'll see our first play from scrimmage of the night. So Bethel's going to run a little option of some sort. Looks like they don't get much on that play.
That was sniffed out immediately. Great play there by Miller. You're coming off the edge there, and what looks like some sort of triple option, speed option type deal by Bethel. They decide to not hand the ball off, pulls it out. Great play there by Miller to read it, stay home, stay on the quarterback. He's the quarterback player in that spot. Don't get fooled and just go right to the QB. Huge loss there for Bethel. And now Bethel, they're going to have to do some stuff that they don't like doing, and that's throwing the football. They're more of a ground and pound team. So this is huge for Skyview. Get them off schedule, get them on 2nd and 3rd and longs, make them have to do things that they don't want to do, and that's where you're going to see the Storm really wreak some havoc against this Bethel defense.
So Bethel's got 2 receivers on the left, 1 on the right. Another little run here up the middle. This one more successful, picking up about 6 yards there as the fullback. It seemed like almost the exact same play they ran a moment ago, this time to Elijah Pula, who's able to pick up several yards on that play, and it's going to be 3rd down.
Yeah, they're running that triple option. It's very similar to one of the military universities' offenses, right? So you're reading a defensive end on if they hand the ball off to the fullback or not. If the defensive end crashes in, then the quarterback's going to pull it. This is what Bethel wants to do all game. They have the guys up front that can open up the holes for the fullback. They want to stay in these 3rd and medium to short situations so they can keep running it every play.
That ball's whipped out to the side. I'm not sure. The official's saying that was a forward pass, and it is incomplete. So Skyview's defense holds and force a 4th down. Unusual quarterback number we saw there. Number 28 is Vashon Igatol, and I'm not sure. They're pretty far away from us here, so I'm not sure if he is taking all the snaps so far tonight, but he is listed as a quarterback wide receiver. So, you know, some options there for Bethel, but in this case, it leads to a punt.
Well, and you can see right there why he plays a couple different positions for the Bison. They're moving into this read option type offense where they're reading defensive ends, they're reading linebackers, really they're just trying to get the ball with their athletes in space and then take what the defense gives them, right? If Skyview has defensive ends that are crashing down on the running back, then the quarterback's going to pull the ball. If they're not crashing down on the running back, the quarterback's going to hand off the ball. You're not going to see a lot of passing from this Bison team if they don't have to, because that's not what they're built for. They're built like the military academies, like Army, like Navy, like Air Force. They want to run the ball. They want to take the air out of the football. The big key then for the Storm is if they can get up early, that is going to force the Bison to start throwing the football, something that they're not good at and not what they want to do as an offense. So if Skyview can get some points here quick, this one could get a little ugly.
Nearly is that he may have got a finger on that. That's a short punt down to about the 30-yard line, and Bethel's going to let it roll, but still fantastic field position here for Skyview, picking up the ball at around the 36-yard line to start their first possession. Everything is coming up Skyview here so far.
Hey, sometimes you need a little help on that first playoff game. You get some of the jitters out. Everyone knows, hey, this game means more. You might come into practice all week and have your coaches saying, hey, it's just another day, it's just another day. It is not another day. Everyone knows that once you get into the playoffs, everything becomes much tighter. It's a bigger game. Every single team that you play is a good opponent. So sometimes it's nice to have a couple things on kickoffs and punts go your way early.
Kennedy on the first play. Jake Kennedy swings it out to Gavin Packer. He's got some space, and Riley Artis on the block. Here goes Packer. Is he going to go all the way? He is. Touchdown, Skyview. First play of the game from scrimmage. Goes for 6.
What a fantastic job there by Packer. That's just a simple smoke screen. Packer's going to come back to the football, catch the ball, and then he's just using his speed. Artis with a great block on the outside to make sure that the corner can't get to him. Packer's just going to run away from everyone. That is huge for the Storm. If you're scoring off of plays like this, nice little smoke screen, gets the ball, Artis with a great block, not one, but two, gets two guys going, and then Packer's just going to do the rest. He's one of the fastest guys in the state, not just the county. So when you can get the ball to Packer in space, he's going to make people miss just like that. Huge for the Storm, early jumping on the Bison.
So here for the extra point. Kick is up, and it is good. Plenty of leg on that one. And so Skyview jumps out to a 7-0 lead with just 2 minutes off the clock here. Exactly what they wanted to do as quickly as they could. Now, you told me an interesting story about Gavin Packer before the game started. You have a bit of a connection with him.
Yeah, so I've known Gavin for years. Brad Packer, his father, used to run a company called APX, and then it was A3. It was a weightlifting company, and they trained us out at Hawkinson. And so I've known Brad since I was, 12 years old. I was a freshman in high school, and I'd always go to the gym, and you'd have his two kids, Mason and Gavin. They'd be out at the gym, and they were always these little kids always trying to get involved, trying to lift a little bit of weights, and always had to have Dad or some of the other guys like, hey, no. You can't go in there and try and bench 315 pounds. You're a third grader, you know? So it's cool to see a full circle moment now where I'm the one calling his games and I'm getting to watch him as opposed to where he used to be watching our games, running around being the water ball and ball boy in high school.
That's pretty fun. It's kind of a cool, like, one of the, again, we talk about this all the time if you listen to our broadcast. One of the cool thing about high school sports is community, right? We know each other, and that's a cool example of just how, you know, you watch kids grow up and here they are finding success on the field. And you're not that much older than him, but still.
Not that much, although I'm sure he's happy that I'm a lot older. But it's not even the same school districts, right? Like I was Hawkinson, he was Vancouver, but everybody seems to know everyone here.
Well, there's a kickoff return for Bethel. That's what they wanted the last time. Still on his feet across the 50-yard line. Great bit of blocking there. We were critical of the blocking on the first kick. This time it was there, and it was there in spades. And I believe that was Austin Miller on the return.
Well, that's classic, right? Like the first time that you get out, and Bethel's a team where they're always right in the playoff hunt, but there have been years where they haven't always made it. So sometimes you have these guys who, it is your first playoff action. Everything is coming just a little bit faster. Everyone is a little bit stronger. It's not your typical high school league game. So sometimes that speed catches you off guard. It shocks you. On the first kickoff, it clearly did. This kickoff, it did not do that for the Bison. They have a great return, and they get a penalty tacked on at the end. That's huge because right now what Skyview wants to do is they want to get up by 2 or 3 scores right away. Then that's going to force Bethel to start throwing. Well, if Bethel is able to have a big kickoff return, they drive down, they score here, they can stay in their offense for as long as they need to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you nailed it right there. It seemed like a matter of nerves, and here they are in great position with Vashon Iketal in a quarterback, and that ball's You run up the middle for little gain.
Well, I feel like I'm going to say his name a lot tonight because I've already said it a couple times, but that was a great play there by Miller. Again, his job is to go in and make a stop there on the running back. He sees that the running back got the ball. He defeats a block and then makes a great tackle so that it's no gain. That's huge, again, with a team that likes to run the football. If you can stop them early on 1st and 2nd down and you force them into 2nd, 3rd, and longs, that's going to be huge because it's going to force them to do things that they don't necessarily want to do. Great play there by Miller.
So back in under the center, again, a little bit of emotion. This ball to the tailback. Number 3, nowhere to go for Roy Lockley III. Again, we talked about him earlier, over 122 yards a game on the ground, so definitely a force on the ground, but Skyview all over that one. And the question is Bethel going to be able to open it up enough to on the outside to get this middle runs going?
Right. Well, and I just realized as I looked, I've been calling the 7 from Bethel. It's actually Hezekiah Tua there. That's 2 plays in a row. 2 plays in a row, he has beat a one-on-one block and made a stop for no gain. That is why Skyview's D-line is dominating this game. It is by Hezekiah Tua, dominant right now.
So 3rd and 10, here's a little handoff up the middle of the fullback. He's got some space. He doesn't quite get to the yardage marker, but this is going to set up a doable 4th down. So, again, pounding that ball up the middle. This time they find a little space, and Elijah Pula picks up about 8.
Yeah, well, what Bethel wants to do is they want to use their big offensive line. As far as high schools go, this is a big offensive line group, and they're not sloppy. They are big, strong kids who, once they get going downhill, they're going to be hard to get off of blocks and hard to stop. Right there, they put a double team on Tua because he's been dominating them one-on-one. That's huge for Skyview because now you know where the double team's going to come, but that's also huge for the Bison to get a gain like that and make it a 4th and manageable. Give yourself the excuse to try and go for it.
So Bethel here calling the timeout, an important play for them on 4th and 3rd, and they're going to talk it over. While they are talking it over, folks, I've got something to talk to you about. Parents, have you registered for Parent Square yet? It's the district's new communication tool, and it opens up opportunities to work with your child's teacher and school. Just go to parentsquare.com/sign-in. You'll use the email address you gave the district at the start of the year. Once you're in, you can get direct messaging, customize your notifications from the school, and RSVP for school and classroom activities. You can also get more information on the district's website, which is vansd.org. It's an easy place to go to get what you need. So make sure, folks, you're signing up for that. We're pretty deep into the school year, so hopefully you already have. And there's that Skyview Storm student section, braving the rain, although it's dry at the moment.
Well, I mean, you kind of have to, right? It's high school playoff football. If you're not braving the rain, what are you doing? If you're at home watching the live stream, keep watching the live stream, but come on down.
Yeah, you almost got yourself in a trap there. You almost no, that's great.
Watch the live stream here.
All right, so 4th down now, 4th and 3 for the Bison. And there's looks like a false start according to Skyview, and I think the officials agree with there's the call. So making it a little tougher on themselves.
I wonder which way they wanted to run the football that time.
Yeah, Elijah Pula was in motion from the left side to the right side, and we saw the jump there. So it's going to be about 4th and 8. Does that change the play call?
Honestly, with the way that this Bethel team works, maybe not, because you want to run the football. It seemed like they were going to overload that right side so that they could get some double teams, especially they want to get a double team on Tua. He's just been dominant in what he's been able to do from that defensive end position. So it seemed to me like Bethel wanted to get more of a load on that side, run directly at the guy who's been, giving you all your fits and see if you can't get that double team to work.
So back to pass now. Lots of space ahead of him, and he's going to take off. Is he going to get there? He is. That's going to be a 1st down for Bethel and more, all the way down to the 12-yard line or so. Great bit of scampering there from the lefty, Vashon Igatol. I was watching him in warm-ups, and he's got a good arm, and that time he shows he's got good legs as well.
Right. Well, the speed, you can see it's a complete difference. You've got Skyview. They do have some sort of a spy on him, and he's just able to outrun everybody. I mean, when you have moves like that, it's a wonder why they want him at that quarterback position and they want to have all these quarterback runs. I want the ball in Igatol's hands, too. He's so darn fast and so shifty that he's going to make a bunch of big plays like that. That's someone that Skyview is going to have to key on, maybe have 2 QB spies or something like that, one on each side, so that way he can't break away and have a big run like that on the next 4th down.
So now 1st and 10. This is going to be a handoff up the middle. There's some space there. He keeps rumbling and stumbling forward nearly to the 1st down. That's Lockley again. Big guy, Lockley, listed at 6 foot and 185 pounds. From here, he looks bigger than that, but still a pretty big high school running back.
Right. That's a great job by the Bethel offensive line. They just move and collapse everyone down, and then Lockley's just putting his head down and running straight ahead. All they're trying to do there on the left side is wash everyone to the other side just past the center. You create a big wall, and Lockley can just put his head down, run to the left, and he doesn't have to worry about anyone getting to him. The Skyview D-line there needs to fall down, make a pile, so they can't do that.
That's ball run up the middle again. We've seen this a number of times, that fullback handoff right up the middle, a quick hitter, but they don't get into the goal line here, so it's going to be second and about 1 yard to go on the goal line here.
You know what? It wouldn't shock me if Bethel did that the next 3 to 4 plays in a row. 1 yard, 1 yard, 1 yard, and you're in the end zone.
And if you look on your screen there, that's 6 inches. I mean, it's that
right.
close.
Right. Well, lean on your big boys. You've got a very large offensive line. I mean, the Skyview D-line is very athletic, and that's going to give them problems. But this is why you get the big boys. You let them just run downhill, block everyone forward, and then trust your fullback to get in the end zone.
So they run the exact same play again, and there's a touchdown. The official signaling it. So 6 points for Bethel.
Yeah, that's a huge answer there by the Bison, and it also lets Skyview know that, hey, you know, just because everything was going your way right at the start, it's not going to go your way the entire time. And you can see it right there with this offensive line of Bethel. They just want to get weight on their guys' hands, and they just want to start moving people. That's going to be the strength of this team, and that's how they're going to be able to stay in this game.
So Roy Lockley, the third, with, I believe, his 15th touchdown of the year. And it looks like we see that kind of unusual formation here, going for 2 perhaps.
A little swinging gate.
And they bring it all back in.
Yeah, when they're doing that, they're looking for something specific. So if Skyview matches up at all in a way that they are not expecting, Bethel's going to call out of it, and they're going to kick the field goal. They're just looking to see if they can catch them off guard, and they clearly couldn't.
So Christian Bernardo, the junior kicker, in for the extra point. He's going to almost get that one blocked, but the guy's got some leg and boots it through, and we are tied at 7. Bethel with the answer. You know, Skyview started this game exactly like they wanted, and Bethel hung tough and didn't get rattled, and here we are back to square one.
Yeah, I kind of think that the Storm player there, I think he was so fast around the corner that he overran the field goal block, right? Like they always tell you when you're blocking a field goal, PAT, or a punt, you want to take that ball right off of the kicker's foot. It almost seemed like the angle that he took was just a little too in, and so that gave that ball time to have space to get up. And he wasn't able to block that. But you know what? If I'm Skyview right now, on the first drive, you were able to stop them. They had a great kickoff return aided by a penalty that gets them all the way into your end. And if you're able to stop them on a 4th down, it was a great scamper by the Bethel QB. If you were able to stop them there, you're getting the ball back to your offense, and you're up 7-0. So right now, if I'm the Storm, I'm not too worried. I'm going to keep playing the defense that I've been playing. I'm going to trust that my D-line is going to keep getting after these Bison. And then from what you saw on your offensive end, I mean, it was one play and a quick score. So I wouldn't change much of my game plan. I bet if you're scripting out your play calls as an OC, you're like, well, okay, now I'm just going to go right down to play number 2. And I'll come back to that smoke screen later.
So Jaden Miller here with the kickoff. There's 2 Storm in the receiving end of things here. Kind of a low liner fielded around the 15-yard line by Gavin Packer. He's trying to find his spacing, finds a little bit of room and gets a block. Now he's bouncing it to the outside. He's going to take it almost. No, he's still on his feet. All the way up to the 50-yard line goes Gavin Packer, patient with his blocks, and has the big return.
We used to work on that at the gym. That little move there where you get tackled and sit on someone and then you keep going. We used to practice that. No, I'm just kidding. But you can see what speed and space does. I think the Storm are going to want to find a way to get the ball to Packer all game long. I mean, over in the summer, he was out at the Northwest Showcase. Wow, what a display of athleticism to keep his feet there and not get tackled. That's incredible. He was one of, if not the fastest juniors at the Northwest Showcase. That's over 800 kids showing up, all kinds of D1 schools. So for him to be that fast, the Skyview Storm are going to want to make sure he gets the ball.
So Trey Jacob with a carry here, met in the backfield, but manages to get just past the line of scrimmage. Trey Jacob, you're going to see a lot of tonight. A shifty runner, quick guy, great to the outside, but also some driving legs, can break a tackle or two here and there.
Yeah, well, and on all the good kudos that I gave to the Bethel Bison offensive line, this Skyview Storm, they have a great offensive line as well, and I know that offensive line coach has those guys' techniques right. They're going to be able to run the football, and they're going to be able to run the football well because they're smart, they're athletic, and I'll tell you what, right now, that is a big, strong offensive line.
And they've also got one of the best running quarterbacks in the state in Jake Kennedy. This time he's going to throw a screen to Jacob. Jacob's got a couple of blocks. He's going to jump over a defender, picks up about 20 yards. Great bit of play calling and a great run there from Jacob to get those extra yards.
Right. Last play you saw Bethel. They got a bunch of linebackers involved in the blitz. How do you slow down a blitz? Well, you screen them. You get your offensive linemen out in space. Great job by those two getting a body on a body. And then Jacob's just doing the rest, man. Make a guy miss, jump over someone. What a fantastic play call and execution by the Storm.
And here they are, 1st and 10 now from the 33-yard line. Here's Kennedy rolling to his right, trying to find something. Decides to whip it out. That ball's going to be a bit low. Aiming there for Cameron Crooks. Skyview with one of the most talented wide receiver cores in Clark County. You've got Riley Artis, Cameron Crooks, and Gavin Packer, who we've talked about, not to mention some talented tight ends with Poffenroth and Ori Oreo. So, a lot of targets here for Jake Kennedy. And one thing we've seen out of him so far this year sometimes is he's got so much juice at the beginning of the game. It takes him a couple of plays here to get himself down, but this time he's going to hold on to it, pick up about 3 yards on the option.
Yeah, well, sometimes, you come out a little bit juiced up. I always knew some guys who, pregame, they're going to hit you a little bit harder than others might in warm-ups. Seems like that might be kind of the deal here with your quarterback. But at the same time, you love that in a guy because that's a guy who wants to go out and he wants to win and he's going to do everything in his power. There's plenty of time to settle down and figure out all that stuff. Right now, I've been impressed with how Kennedy's played this game.
So 3rd and 6, Skyview getting the call from the sidelines, not liking what they're seeing and resetting here. Or 3rd and 8. Gonna flip it out. That ball's tipped, nearly picked off. Great bit of defensive line play there out of Bethel to smack that ball down. If I'm reading my numbers correctly, that was Salmao Jamar Tatasi with the swat.
Right. Well, that's huge there by Kennedy. Now that Bethel's not afraid to get their hands in the passing lane because you did have an open wide receiver. So just memorize that as a quarterback and know that you might have to get the ball up a little bit higher. And then as an offensive line, you got to finish hands high. If a guy wants to jump like that, he needs to get put on the ground.
So here's Kennedy rolling to his right. He's got a man. That's Riley Artis. That's complete, and out of bounds goes Artis for the first down. So, we talked about some poise. Kennedy showing poise there, putting that ball right on the money to Riley Artis, who makes his first reception.
That's a great play there by Artis, too. Understand where you are on the field. He knows he's right about at that numbers, not quite to the sideline, but still, I'm going to double tap, drag my toes just a little bit, so that way I make sure I get 3-4 feet in bounds. That way the refs don't have the opportunity to accidentally, miss-see something or, oh, hey, he juggled it, so that doesn't count. Way to get all your feet in bounds and make the play.
Here's a little pitch out to Jacob. Not a lot of room. He kind of gets tackled right around the line of scrimmage. I had the opportunity. I briefly met Riley Artis' father as I walked past him. He was in line for the concession stand. I knew it was Riley Artis' dad because he's wearing a sweatshirt that says Riley Artis on it. A nice guy, ready to see his kid, play some playoff football. So I'm sure he's pretty happy with that play there a moment ago.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with a proud father. There needs to be more over-the-top proud fathers in high school football. I want to see, if you're a dad of a kid out there, you better have his name, number, everything on your sweatshirt. That way everyone knows you're proud of your kiddo.
And, this is the time to do it. You've only got 4 years, and here's Kennedy now rolling to his left. This is going to be a keeper. He's got some blocks out front. What pursuit there. And Zadrius Rainey-Sale, a name we're going to be calling a lot tonight with the tackle, came out of nowhere. And he actually, on the replay a few moments ago, was the guy who got the swat on the pass. He's the leading tackler on this team, also the leading receiver, and showing the speed and strength there.
Absolute stud. That's a guy who's going to be playing on Saturdays once his days in Bethel are over. To be able to run that play all the way down from behind, Kennedy is not a slow quarterback. He's athletic and he's able to move. So to run that down and not give Kennedy the opportunity to cut back on Sale there, that's a huge play, and that's why he'll be playing some big-time football on Saturdays.
Kennedy with a little slant inside here to Packer, who stays on his feet, is pushing towards that end zone, and he is in. Skyview answers with 6 more points.
Well, you know what? We're talking about how fast Packer is. You know what we didn't give him credit for? How strong he is, because he had 3 or 4 Bison wrapping him up at the 5-yard line, and he's just going to fight through it. they're going to want to get the ball to Gavin Packer in space because this entire game he has proven that he can beat the Bison time and time again, and he did it there, showing off a little bit of strength.
Yeah, and just, Skyview fighting that urge to throw the ball downfield, just putting the ball in the hands of its playmakers and letting them go, and it's been successful for him so far.
Well, that's a great bit of blocking, not just by the O-line, but by the other wide receivers and tight ends there, because that's a tunnel screen. You're just trying to get the ball to your playmaker with blockers out in front of him, and the Storm were able to get on guys. Those were free runners that were able to get onto Packer later, and he's like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do everything to get into the end zone. I'm stronger than everyone else.
And that extra point is good. So 14-7 Skyview. Bethel having a hard time holding on to these Storm offensive players, and now they're going to see if they can answer yet again. As you see Packer getting props on the sideline there.
If he was in the NFL, then he'd have the oxygen tank on right now. I know he's tired, but the Storm are going to need him for 3 more quarters because right now he seems to be the Bison killer.
So that's what we are. 2:49 left here in the first quarter, and I love the playoffs. It's so much fun to see football at this high level. We do lots of games. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not so great, and just to see the playoff football, it's an exciting time of year as a broadcaster to get to see these games. And I know our student crew, this is their 11th broadcast of the year, which is the most we've ever done in a season, and it's the same crew. They're all great kids, and they're all working hard, and this is our playoffs too.
Right.
You're seeing better camera work, directing, replays than you would have seen in game 1 or 2. And it's fun to see them make these leaps as we see these players on the field make leaps as well.
Right. Well, it's all about growth, and I'll tell you what, I don't know if there is a better high school unit than your crew that you have here that's running the cameras, running the replays, running the directing, behind the scenes. It's a top-notch group. There are a lot of colleges right now that I'm sure are watching this YouTube broadcast and going, well, shoot, maybe we can take some of those high school kids and improve what we're doing.
I would love that, and that's why we're doing it, to give them the opportunity to grow and pursue careers in broadcasting. So there's the return back to about the 20-yard line. That's kind of you to say. Thank you. We appreciate hearing that. And if you're watching at home, you hear us, you think these are adults. We're the only adults who are actively doing anything in this broadcast.
Right.
Every position in this broadcast is manned by students, and they do a fantastic job. And they come from all over our district. So we're talking Skyview. We're talking Fort Vancouver High School, Hudson's Bay, Vancouver iTech Preparatory. Columbia River has its own broadcast unit, but we see those students sometimes as well. So it's pretty cool just to see kids of different schools come together as well.
Right.
Anyway, let's talk about the game. Sorry, I can talk about this all day.
It's a top-notch program, and sometimes it's okay to brag.
All right, well, back in at quarterback is number 28, Vashon Agatol. The lefty's going to hand it off up the middle. Lockley met it behind the line of scrimmage and dragged down. Good bit of penetration there from that D-line. It looked like a Caden Hamlin on the tackle.
Yeah, that's a great play there by Hamlin. All he's doing there is reading what the guard is doing. His guard blocks away. He fills that hole, and he's able to fill now right away, almost like it looks like a blitz. He's getting in there so fast, able to stop the running back before he even gets to the line of scrimmage. That's great linebacker play. At the high school level, you see a lot of kids that stare at the backfield. They stare at the quarterback. They stare at the running back, so they're a half second late to get there. What Hamlin did, you can tell he's reading through the guard. As soon as he sees his guard block away, he fills the hole that he needs to be in, and that gets him there right on time to make a big stop for the Storm.
So 2nd and 11 here for the Bison. Same formation we've seen most of the night. 2 receivers on the bottom. Here comes the blitz. Little option outside. That ball's loose. It's on the turf. Lockley trying to fall on it. I think he recovered possession, but they lost a good 7 or 8 yards there.
Well, that's just a running back not being in pitch relation with his quarterback, and it's also his quarterback taking his eyes off of where he's going to pitch it, right? When you are throwing the ball, you don't try and throw blind unless you're Patrick Mahomes. He's not looking where he needs to be looking. He's trusting that his running back should be in the position that he should be, which is slightly behind following. Lockley gets a little too out front. He's a little too far ahead. Lockley needs to slow his roll down there a little bit, and Egatol needs to look at him all the way through as he makes that pitch. But I'll tell you what, it's not raining now, but it was raining early on, so you know that ball is going to be wet. I'm interested to see if Bethel has issues trying to pitch the ball and trying to pull the ball on a lot of their handoffs, because even though it's not raining, it's still wet. It's going to be slippery. It's going to be hard to hold on to that football.
So Egatol looking to pass here on a 3rd and 21. He's going to hang on to it, trying to find some space, and not a lot of space to go. Looks like a little extracurricular at the end there. Did they throw a flag? It's kind of a tough one for that Skyview defender. It looks like I think it was Andrew Oriorio out there who or was that, excuse me, that was maybe Hezekiah Tua? In any case, the defender had him and then sort of tried to let go on the way out of
right.
bounds.
I think the ref just raised his hand because I let out a groan there because I thought he had thrown the flag, and it's like he's not trying to rip the guy down there as the Skyview defender. He's just got a hold of him, and he just, it's one of those things where you almost get your feet tangled up, your arms tangled up. It's not an egregious act, so I didn't think that a flag was warranted. I'm glad that a flag wasn't thrown. But from where we were at, it looked like the referee had thrown the flag there, and it's like, just let the boys play. That's not a flag. It just happens. It's wet. It's slippery. People fall.
So a low, wobbly kick's going to hit the turf, and Packers just going to let it go. Smart move there, and it's going to end up at the 50-yard line. We mentioned this, like 99.9% of the time, these high school refs, they get it right. And right there's an example. They used their discretion, and they kept that flag in their pocket, and it was the right call.
Right. Well, a lot of people want to jump on the referees, and and that's how it is in high school and college and pro. Shoot, that's how it is in Little League.
Unfortunately.
But it doesn't need to be that way, right? You have a lot of volunteers who are out here, and they're doing their best. And frankly, I think for the most part, they do a good job. So it's always important to remember that every once in a while, someone will make a mistake. You make a mistake at your job. You just don't get yelled at by a bunch of fans.
So a handoff there to Rex Allinger, his first carry of the game, picks up about 3 yards. A lot of offensive talent here for this Skyview team. A lot of backs we're going to see tonight, or can see. They're very deep. We see Jacob with most carries, but we see Allinger. Sometimes we see Levi Webb or Eric Botnan. So a lot of talent in this backfield.
Well, sometimes you have a problem of having too many guys that need to have the ball in their hands, and that's always a good thing as an offensive coordinator. And you can tell that the Storm are just trying to find inventive ways to get the ball to their best players in space, and whoever the hot hand seems to be is who they will ride that night.
Kennedy and Allinger collide, but manage to get the play off. Here's the Packer. They're just finding him, and off he goes. Look how fast he is. Is he going to get there? Not quite. Just pushed out around the 10-yard line. That's just simple football. Get it to your fast guy and let him run. Get downfield and block.
Right. Well, the Storm love to run these different screen plays. This one, it's again more of your little tunnel screen there. You've got offensive linemen out in space, and they're picking up dudes. To have an offensive line that is that athletic, that can get out into space and run with linebackers and get on linebackers, you just don't see that at the high school level. So you know that you have a quality offensive line group that is being coached there in Skyview. And then Packer, that's just an athlete making people miss when he needs to. I'll tell you what, right now, I'm sure if you went down on the field and talked to him, he's pissed off because he feels he should have ran all the way in for a touchdown. Yeah, the Bison were able to get to him, and they pushed him a little bit, but I know that he wishes he was able to get into the end zone there. That's fantastic. That's a fantastic play. And that's fantastic play calling. Get the ball to your best players in space.
Yeah, and they did, and they managed to pick up that first down. And now at the end of the first quarter, up 14-7, they're going to be in prime position to seek the end zone in the second quarter. So that you could see in that replay, it was just a touch on the hip, just got him slightly off balance. Yeah,
just enough. Well, they always tell you as an offensive lineman, you want to hit that D lineman on the hip. If they're rushing you outside, hit him on his hip so he rushes further outside. If he's rushing inside, hit him on his hip so he rushes further inside than he wants to. It's the same thing with tackling. Sometimes you're not able to wrap up and bring a guy down, but you know what? If you hit their hip, it's just going to push him just enough to get out of bounds. I'll tell you what right now, though, I love the game plan of the Storm. It's get the ball to your best playmakers in space with blockers out in front of them. It's raining, so you don't need to take those deep shots. We'll take short shots. We'll have a lot of screens. We'll have a lot of run plays, and it seems to be working huge for them.
So at the start of the second quarter, here's Kennedy on the keeper, pushes it up the middle, picks up about 5 yards on the first down play, and a short second down coming up here for the Storm as they moved from your screen right to left.
Great decision there by Kennedy. Go and take the amount of yards that you can get. It's not going to be a big play. It's not going to be a touchdown play. But sometimes a 5-yard gain is better than, a 2 or a 3-yard gain when you're looking to try and make a home run. Just make the smart play. Great decision there by Kennedy.
Kennedy now in the shotgun. He's got 2 receivers on the top, 1 on the bottom, Packer on the bottom. Joining the backfield by Trey Jacob, who's now going to move to the right side. Kennedy's going to roll to his right again. This time he's going to flip it out. That ball is complete, and that's a touchdown to Riley Artis.
Great play call there. What the Storm are doing, it's a lot of check with me. So what you're seeing is they're going to the line of scrimmage, they're giving a fake little cadence, and then they look back to their coach, and their coach is reading what the Bethel defense wants to do, and then he's making a call there as the offensive coordinator. That is a great play call. You know you have a playmaker in man coverage, in space. Roll your quarterback out so it's an easy throw and catch to Artis. Great play call there by the Skyview Storm staff to get your playmaker in space one-on-one. I would have thought he was going to go backside to Packer on the slant. Artis was even more open. Great decision all around.
Now in for the extra point is our mysterious number 47. Showing a lot of legs so far. This ball is up and good. Right down the middle. You see that field house behind. I think every kicker who comes to Kiggins Bowl tries to kick it over the net and hit the top of that field house. And didn't happen there, but we might say it later. Well, who knows? But the field house, you know, part of the renovations here that came a couple years ago as part of the bond measure that voters passed, along with many other improvements here at Kiggins Bowl to make this a fun place to watch football. Unfortunately, the one thing they couldn't do is extend the roof out to cover these fans a little better. So if you're seeing fans in the shots here tonight, most of them are far back from the field just to stay dry.
You know what? I think sometimes as a fan, it's important to feel some of the pressure that the players are feeling. It's okay to be a little bit wet. It's okay to get rained on. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'll tell you what, as someone who played in Kiggins Bowl long before they built.
There's that student section up front willing to get wet, and everybody else is in the back.
Those are the true fans, the student section. But I'll tell you what, as someone who used to take the halftimes underneath the stadium in the old locker rooms, I've never been more jealous of today's youth. To be able to not have to go underneath the stadium and deal with some of the smells that we had to deal with down there. The new field house that they built with the brand new locker rooms, it's fantastic. It's a great upgrade to an already great facility.
So Skyview up 21-7 here, kicking off. Two receivers deep here, returners deep here, excuse me. Another big kick there, a low liner. It's going to scoot all the way through the end zone for a touchback. So Skyview imposing its will here, and the fans are wet but happy, as you see there on your screen.
Right. Well, that's part of the joys. Like, if you're wet but you're winning and you're going to be happy, then you're not really wet, and it doesn't matter. You're only wet when you're losing. That's what people don't understand. You're not cold when you're winning. You're only cold when you're losing.
And, you know, the Skyview band controls the boosters, band boosters control the concession stand here, and they make a mean cup of hot chocolate. So, you know, not a lot to complain about here for these Skyview fans as Bethel returns to the field for their third offensive possession.
Well, you know, whenever I go to T-Mobile Park, used to be Safeco, it was like I had to get a Mariner dog. Sometimes when you go to a Skyview Storm game, you got to go get a Skyview hot chocolate.
Yeah, and they've got the grill down here tonight. Last week, hey, if you come to the games, by the way, there's a secret. You can order online from the vendors, from the band at their website. You can skip the line and just pick it up at the window. It's fantastic.
Ooh, that's nifty. That's a key piece of knowledge that I just got from you.
I did it last week. I bought dinner for the crew, but Lockley there on the big run picks up a first down. So good bit of offensive there from the Bethel Bison to start their possession.
Yeah, there you go. You got the whole cookout. They're ready to go. That's fantastic.
Scan the QR code, go to the website, pay online, pick up your food, skip the line. It's fantastic. And of course, you're supporting the Skyview band, one of the best, you know, bands in our area, so it's a win-win.
That's right. Always supporting the youth.
So here's Bethel on first down. Little option there. Hands it off to the up man, picking up about 7 yards before getting swallowed up in a sea of blue jerseys.
I love seeing the differing styles because you can literally see between these two offenses complete different football. Bethel, it's going to be more old school. What do they have? They have these big, strong offensive linemen. So what do they want to do? They want to get them running downhill. What's the best way to do that? Let's call a bunch of run plays where our guys are just attacking straight ahead. Whereas you look at Skyview and you have these long, quick, agile offensive linemen. Well, what's the best thing for them? Well, let's get them in space to go out and make plays. I love seeing more of the old school in the Bison, the new school in the Storm, and you're watching a great clash right now in this game.
So 2nd and 4. This ball's going to be whipped outside. That ball is nearly intercepted. Wow, just off the fingertips of both the receiver and Cameron Crooks. Looks like, I think that was Zadrius Rainey Sale on the attempted reception here. Just can't hold on to it, and Crooks nearly pulls it out.
Nearly an incredible play there. But you can see why Bethel they want to run the football, right? They like to get their offensive line moving downhill. They want to get their players, their big key group, that offensive line moving forward so they can attack with Lockley where he's running downhill. He's got a head of steam. They'll try to get the ball out to their playmakers in space when they can, but they've been most effective running that fullback dive right down the gut.
Here they are. This time they're going to hand it off to Lockley. He's got some room, and he's going to break across the 45-yard line to pick up a first down. So the commitment to the run's still there for Bethel, and it pays off with a first down, and they're moving the football. So
is there a flag out here on the field? What is that?
See that Lockley there. Good form tackling out of Artis there. We just saw score the touchdown, and now with the defensive play, looks like the officials are talking over something. We're not 100% sure what.
There's a flag here on the near side of the field, right about where the backfield would be. So I'm wondering if maybe not enough men on the line of scrimmage. I don't think that a Skyview Storm player was lined up offsides. Looks like they're gonna pull the flag back. That's interesting because at the start of the play I didn't see anything that tipped me off to an illegal formation. Not enough guys on the line of scrimmage. They're from Bethel, but this is what they do best. Run downhill, run right at people. They are big and they are strong, not just in the offensive line group, but in the running back positions, at fullback and at tailback. So look to see the Bison continue to try and beat up that Skyview Storm defense right down the gut.
Here they are back in that same formation. They're going to hand it off to Lockley. He's got some space. He's cutting up. He's going to break across and get another first down. So Bethel doing what it needs to do. This Skyview defense has been tough all year long. If you look back to the beginning of the year, I believe it wasn't until the third game they gave up their first points of the year. But they are not a big defense. They're a fast defense that gets to the right spot. And you can see with a big team like Bethel, it's going to cause them some problems.
Right. Well, we always used to have a saying out at Central where, big doesn't get tired. Big when we're moving downhill at that offensive line group and we're attacking you on dives and bellies and powers and guts and traps. That's where we do our best playmaking. It's when we are attacking you. When we have to get in space, that's when we get tired. So what Bethel is doing is they're just trying to beat up this Skyview team early so that these runs turn into big-time runs later.
And there's a big-time run right there from Lockley. He's going to pick up about 20 yards and roll it all the way down to the 21-yard line of Skyview. Bethel starting to really impose its will there on that offensive line, as you just mentioned.
Right. That was a great cut there by Pula, too. Basically what he does is he sets up his fullback. He makes sure that his fullback gets put in a position to where he can make the block that he needs. He makes a nice cut to the left, and that gets him another extra 10 yards. That is great vision at the running back position. Seeing, hey, there is a defender here, but I can make him miss simply by cutting to the left at the last second. So my offensive lineman or my tight end in this situation can put themselves in between me and that defender. That is a great job by him.
Yeah, Pula with the carry there, called Lockley. This time it is Lockley, and he's going to pick up several yards as he keeps sort of pushing forward. See where they spot that, but it looks like he picked up 8 or 9 yards on the carry.
That's a great run there. I'll tell you what, they are just beating up on this Skyview Storm defense right now. And it's not that the defense is playing bad. It is just right now there is a clear size difference. And you know what? Skyview, we talk about it on their offense. They are playing to their strength. What is their strength? Let's get our best players the ball with space. What is this Bethel team's best strength? It is running the football right at you. And right now they are leading this drive, and they're able to keep this entire drive going, looking like it might be a big touchdown drive for them because they are playing straight to their strengths.
And there's Pula again on the handoff up the middle. He's going to get that first down, it looks like, and they're going to move the chains and keep this drive alive with 7:23 left here in the second quarter. So plenty of time for Bethel to do what it wants to do and set itself up and be methodical here as they attempt to pull back within one score.
Yeah, this is why it's going to be huge for Skyview when they get the ball offensively to keep the pressure on this Bethel team, because the more that you can score, the less amount of times that Bethel is going to be able to run the football like this because it's taking so much time off the clock. So if Skyview is able to keep that 2-3 score lead as much as they can, that's going to force Bethel to have to do things that they don't want to do, like throw the football, and that's where you see Skyview really start to make their mark.
Lockley trying to bounce to the outside, unable, tries to cut back to the middle, and there's a whole bunch of Skyview Storm meeting him, and that's going to be a long second down coming up for Bethel. Lockley a little slow to get up there, and looks like he's okay.
Yeah, that's a great job by the Storm. As you can see, they're starting to add that 7th, 8th guy into the box, and they're starting to go man coverage on the outsides, which I think is smart football, because where have the Bison killed you? It's been when they've run the football. So you know what? Force them to throw the ball. Put more guys in the box than they have blocking, and send blitzes, get after the running backs, get after the quarterbacks, man it up on the outside. That's a smart play calling decision there by the defensive coordinator to make that switch.
So here is the Bison, 2nd and 2. Here's a handoff again to Lockley. He's going to bang it up the middle. Still not a huge gainer. Maybe back to the original line of scrimmage, setting up a long 3rd down here. You can see that's, like you said, Skyview collapsing in the middle, leaving its cornerbacks more or less by themselves, trusting that they're going to be able to make those plays one-on-one, and that Bethel is not likely to attack them there anyway.
Right. That's a good job there by Botnan to get off a block and make that tackle, because now it is 3rd and long. So Bethel has to come out of what they've been doing, because Skyview has added that extra 1 to 2 guys into the box, and they're going to force Bethel to throw or try and get to the outside on that speed option, which has not worked for them at all this game.
So 3 receivers up on the left side. This may be the first time we've seen this look out of Bethel tonight. 1 running back there in the backfield. And looks like a flag coming in. I wonder, perhaps a delay of game. Referee's going to chat this one over. Looks like the already marching it back 5 yards. Or the players are, rather. They know what's going on. Here's the official doing it as well. So I'm guessing that's a delay of game. I haven't seen the call yet.
Yeah, it was a delay of game. They took too long. The nice thing about the way that Bethel runs their offense is the quarterback always goes to their offensive coordinator. He tells him the play call, and then he runs back out. The problem with that, if it takes the offensive coordinator a couple extra seconds to make that decision, guess what? You don't have as much time to get everybody set and get everybody lined up where they need to go. This Bethel team, they're never in a hurry because they want to take as much time off the clock as they can.
So 3rd and 15, back to pass. He's going to hold on to it. He does have a lot of space up the middle. Does he have enough? Bounces it to the outside. He's trying to get to that far side, and he does. Is he in?
I think he got in, but there's a flag here on the near side, and Skyview's trying to say that it was a block in the back or illegal crackback. But I'll tell you what, that was one heck of a play from Igatol, because I would have told you, hey, you need to run right at the heart of this defense, attack it, and get as many yards as you can, so that on 4th down you have to make a tough decision on going for it or kicking the points, getting the field goal. And instead, he went to the outside and showed everybody why they want the ball in his hands as much as possible. That was a fantastic play by him. Unfortunately, looks like one of his offensive linemen or wide receivers had a block in the back. I think it's up here at the top. I think their wide receiver comes down hard. It's on this crackback here. It looks like that's Lockley.
Ooh, right there, you could see it.
Smokes the Skyview Storm player. 4 or 5 years ago, that's a completely legal block. Everybody's hyping him up. He's on some YouTube highlight page. But instead now with the new rules, the illegal crackbacks, that is an illegal block, and I believe that is what they called the flag on.
So it's going to be 3rd and 14, more or less the same down and distance we saw just a moment ago, erasing the touchdown, and Bethel's going to see if it can find a little bit of magic here once again. Igatol showing us the wheels, and see what they come up with here. 3 receivers on the right side of the screen here on the bottom side of the field. Igatol's going to take that snap from under center. He's looking to his right. Again, he's going to keep it. Bounces to the outside and nowhere to go. Big tackle there out of Caden Hamlin. Sat down, didn't give him any space to go, and crushed him. And unfortunately now it looks like we may have an injury on Igatol. Hopefully he's going to bounce back up here and be able to keep playing here. He is on his feet. Sometimes those where you do get kind of smashed knocks the wind out of you for a second, or just kind of do a little check on yourself to make sure everything's still there. And
that's what it looked like to me. That's a great play by Hamlin. Hamlin is playing the QB spy here, and all he's doing is waiting for Igatol to try and take the ball, and then he's just going to fly after him and try and make a play. That's a great job by him, because at first when Igatol got out, I thought, that's a tough angle. I don't necessarily like how you're attacking him. It almost seems like you're playing in that chase position from a linebacker spot. Well, Hamlin proved me wrong because he's faster than what I'm used to seeing at that linebacker position at the high school level. That's a great play by him, understanding his speed, but also not letting Igatol cut back, take the right angle, make sure he can't cut back at all, and swallow him up there for a big play.
So now Evan Barnes in at quarterback. His first snap, and it's a tough one. 4th and 13 from the 16-yard line. He's going to drop back to pass. He's going to go for the end zone. That ball's going to sail, and it's going to be a turnover on downs for Skyview. So their defense bends but doesn't break, and they're going to take over with a 21-7 lead here with 4:13 left in the second quarter.
That's a huge stop there from Skyview because it seemed like Bethel was able to run the football right up the gut whenever they wanted to. They had 3 or 4 big runs early on 1st and 2nd down where they were just gashing you in the A-gaps. What does Skyview do? They make the adjustment. They add in an extra O-lineman. They add in another linebacker to the box. They man up the outsides, and they say, hey, we're going to add more guys in the box, so you have to go to the outside. Bethel wasn't able to do that. Huge stop for the Storm.
So Kennedy rolls to his right, throws back to his left to Packer. He's going to pick up, if not the first down, awfully close, out to about the 25-yard line.
Yeah, I think Bethel's starting to key in on Packer there because you saw a lot more Bison that didn't get fooled by the little trickeration there by Kennedy. Fake like you're rolling out one way, come back to the other side on the screen. That's a good job by the Bison of staying home and holding Packer to a 10-yard gain. Weird to say that.
And yet it's still a first down. So there's a penalty on the play, a flag of some sort. I couldn't tell if that was an offense. Looks like an offsides penalty on the defense. So Skyview going to move up 5 yards and try again here. And that's the thing about the Skyview offense. So if they do key in on Packer, which obviously they should based on what we've seen, they've still got Artis on the outside. They still got Trey Jacob, whose name we've barely called tonight, and who is a major weapon, and all these other weapons. So, you know, you talk about the defensive adjustments. Well, the offense sees that as well. They make adjustments as well, and we'll see what Skyview does if Bethel's keying in on Packer. So here's Kennedy back now to pass. He's going to go deep. He's got Packer open. That's complete. Does not go down. Packer with no one between him and the end zone. And he's going to score. Skyview with a long touchdown play.
Welcome to the Gavin Packer Show. That was a fantastic post route there. Got some separation from the cornerback, one-on-one coverage. All Kennedy is looking for is, hey, my best wide receiver right now in this game has one-on-one coverage. He's gotten some separation. I'm going to put the ball on him. He does that. Packer then does the rest, makes the corner miss, and then runs it all the way in the end zone. And I know he went about 80% there. He knew that he didn't have to worry about someone catching him. He could take a little bit off it, get into the end zone, make a huge play there. Fantastic job by Packer. Fantastic job by Kennedy to just put the ball on him and not try and lead him too much. And now all of a sudden the Storm are looking at a 28-7 lead.
Yeah, they only took about 20 seconds to score there offensively, which in a way is better for Bethel if they were going to score, to have a little bit more time to run what they want to do. And that kick is up, and it is good. So Skyview up 28-7 here in the second quarter, doing what they want to on offense. And I was watching this play, and we had just talked about them keying in on Packer. He'd been running these short routes over and over and over again. They keep looking for him. This time they send him deep, and it's almost like that equivalent of what we were talking about with Bethel. You run it up the middle, and then it opens up to the outside.
Right.
It's like the passing equivalent almost of that with Packer.
Right. Well, and a lot of what Skyview does is they run those screens, the tunnels, the smokes, the bubbles, because they know that it basically acts as a run play, right? It's an easy pitch and catch, or at least it should be, for a quarterback to throw the ball basically 10 yards right down the line of scrimmage. So it acts as an extension of your run game because you know that that ball is going to get completed 99.9% of the time, and you know that now you get the ball to your playmaker in space. They should, at minimum, get 3 yards, maybe more. So when you do that, all of a sudden, the Braves, they're going to have to start playing up closer and closer. And all of a sudden, instead of being able to play 5 yards off of a wide receiver, you're now having to play bump and run coverage. And then that's when Packer and Artis and all the rest of these Skyview skill players start beating guys deep. That's all that this was. It was, hey, it's raining, it's wet. Let's call a bunch of screen passes, a bunch of screen plays, suck up that defense, and then we can attack them deep. And that was just great play calling and great execution all around from the Storm.
So that ball is still on the turf, barely recovered there. The Bison eventually fall on it. So that's an unusual case. Not quite an onside kick. It's kind of an odd bouncing squib, and the Storm nearly recover it, but the Bison managed to fall on it. You can see right here,
Well, and that's a perfectly placed ball because you kick it hard enough that the front line isn't going to grab it, but that it's difficult for that second line to get on it. And if the final line is going to get to it, all they're going to have time to do is just jump on the football because they're not going to be able to pick it up and run. It's actually a perfectly placed ball. And with how hard the rain is starting to come down again, I love that decision. I bet you Bethel will start doing the same thing on their kickoffs because it's going to be hard to pick up a ball normal. Now you're trying to pick it up with all the rain and how wet everything is. It just sets up for more and more fumbles. I like the decision there.
So 3:53 left here in the second quarter, and Bethel looking to move. They got a man in motion. This time they're going to hand it off up the middle to Lockley. He's going to pick up about 4 yards. Lockley also the man who jumped on the ball a moment ago, so fortunate for Bethel that one of their key offensive players with good hands was in that position, and this time he runs the ball for about 4 yards, and it's going to set up a 2nd and 6.
That was a nice little combo tackle there from Hamlin and from Tua. Those have been the two big stoppers when they've gotten stops from the storm of this Bethel offense. If those two are coming together on a bunch of tackles like that, I think you're going to be a happy Skyview fan tonight, toasting a victory and looking forward to the next week.
A lot of football left to play here. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. 28-7. Here's Lockley again. He's met in the backfield, still manages to push his way forward. So in the backfield there was Colby Warner making contact, but Lockley kept those feet driving and picks up a couple yards, and it's going to be about 3rd and 3 here for Bethel as the clock continues to wind down under 3 minutes now.
And this is the problem with what Bethel's strength is. You are playing a game against the clock. When you're up or it's close, it's fine. You can take as much time off the clock as you need. But when you are down, and right now you are down 3 scores, the clock is not your friend. You need to score, and you need to score quick. This is the issue with this style of offense.
And back in the game after that apparently minor injury is Igatol, and he's trying to bounce it to the outside, nowhere to go, and he's going to slide down, bringing up a 4th down for Bethel. So if you're Skyview, you got a quick stop. You still have 2.5 minutes here. Another offensive opportunity for a team that's shown it can strike quickly.
Yeah, well, and that's what you couldn't have happen for the Bison. You can't give the ball back to Skyview with 2.5 minutes left in the half. This offense has shown, I don't think that they've had a drive where it's gone more than 2 minutes, let alone the 2.5 minutes. They have been quick score, quick strike offense, big plays, explosive plays. This is what you couldn't do as the Bison. You needed to have a big drive where you could come away and get some points, and then hopefully you get a turnover, you get a stop when Skyview gets the ball to start the half. This is huge, though, for the Storm because right now you're playing in that middle 8, right? The last 4 in the first half and then the first 4 in the second half. You've already scored a touchdown in this middle 8, and you're about to get the ball back again if the Bison do actually punt this football. If you can score this touchdown, then you get the ball back to start the half, you're looking at a 21-point swing where the Bison only touched the ball 1 time. That is huge, and that's good coaching. You see it talked about a lot at the college level. It's what makes the Oregon Ducks so good because they take advantage of this. If the Storm could take advantage of this to a 21-point scoring change, that's going to be huge.
So the punt is off, and it's good. It's short. It's a spiral punt. It's going to bounce around the 47-yard line, and Packers going to back away from that. But still, good starting field position here on this potentially final possession here for Skyview. They're going to get the ball at around the 44-yard line. And we've seen, as we said, they can score quick, and we'll see what they put together here. See if they call the timeout, if they're just Coach Kaiser, they're out on the field. You see talking to his players, and no timeout. They're just going to run right out and start playing here, reserving those final 2 timeouts.
Normally, I'd say they'd get into their 2-minute offense, but shoot, the way the Storm play, it seems like they're always in their 2-minute offense, so I don't feel like much has changed. They're just going to play at their normal tempo.
A 30-second offense is what we've seen so far. And here's the handoff to Jacob. He's got a little bit of space, bounces off a tackle, continues going down that left side. Finally, just barely pushed out of bounds. So we talked about Jacob earlier, and we haven't called his name a lot, but they've been passing the ball a lot. This time they hand it off to Jacob, and he picks up a good 30 yards on that carry.
That was a great lead block there by number 9. Normally, and I would jump on what a great run that was by Jacob to break that tackle, but he's getting let out by number 9 there, Gavin. I'm not even going to attempt your last name. Thank you. He blocks the linebacker all the way to the ground. Huge lead block from him to open up Jacobs' big run there, and then another big run by Jacobs. Not quite the first down, but still looks like an 8-yard gain.
Yeah, flag comes in late here. We'll see what this is all about. But Skyview, interestingly, passing, now running, and we'll see what this call is. See if it gives them a first down or pushes it back, and the official stepping up to make the call right here. Looks like it's against the Storm, and it's going to be a 1st and 15, it looks like. So all for naught on that play from Jacob. And
oh, that might be a sideline warning?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. And a few moments ago, we did see the officials run out and push those guys back too. So this is maybe the second time they've seen something like this from that sideline.
Right, and the replay just showed it, but that was a great block there by 9. Absolutely dominated his opponent at the point of attack, and that's what opens up that outside zone play there for the Storm. That's huge. When you're running an outside zone or an outside sweep, a run to the outside of any kind, your tight end or your tackle on that side has to win at the point of attack. When you can dominate a defensive player and block them 10 yards downfield, then put them on their back, it just opens up holes and makes life easy for the running back to where he doesn't even get touched till the safety. Huge block there.
So here's Kennedy. He's going to roll to his right, flips it out. There's Poffenroth. We just called his name, and now he's got a beeline to the end zone. He's going to score. Gavin Poffenroth with the touchdown reception. A little pitch and catch from Kennedy, and it's another Skyview touchdown.
I'm going to be furious, but there is a flag over here on the top side, and I think they're going to call, it looks like they're going to call maybe Packer for holding. I feel awful for Poffenroth because he did exactly what you're supposed to do at a skill position. When it is not your job to catch the ball but to block for someone, you go out and be selfless. Dominate at the point of attack. Coaches see that, and they want to make sure that they can get the ball back to you in a spot where you can score. You can see that the Bethel defense, Poffenroth has been blocking so well that they think that he's about to lay this dude out here. He just slips underneath it and just outruns everybody. I love the angle.
Oof, that's a difficult call. You can see the defender was turning his body to get away from the saying Packer maybe held on to the front of that jersey just a second too long.
By the time we see it, it looks like it's already gone. There's a chance that maybe he had just gotten that outside grab, and that's tough. When you're trying to block someone and they're trying to release right to that referee, they're going to see that every time and make that call.
So here's Jacob up the middle. Not a lot of space. He is met and goes down. It's going to bring up a second down for Skyview. We are under a minute 45 here.
Wow, this feels like the longest Skyview drive they've had, minutes-wise.
Well, I mean, this is the first time we've seen a lot of flags out of that Skyview team as well, and that's really hampered them here and erased the touchdown and moved them backwards. It looks like we are going to have a timeout from Skyview, and we'll stick with it here. Folks, I'm trying to debate. If I have a long thing I got to read, and I'm debating if I have time to do it. Let's not do that because I don't want to take away from the game here. Sorry, I'm producing and announcing at the same time.
Hey, you're all good. I'll tell you what, right now I'm impressed with the offensive firepower from the Skyview Storm team because you've seen a bunch of big explosion plays from Gavin Packer today, but I'll tell you what, you will also see other big plays from guys like Artis, from Jacob, right, who have been in space. Kennedy, when he's pulled the ball down and run it himself instead of just throwing, they've been open in space too. It seems like right now Skyview is almost calling, I don't want to say the perfect game, but they've called a very good game plan to where they're finding ways to get the ball to their players in space. It seems in this game where Packer seems to be getting a lot of the mismatches, but there's a lot of other wide receivers and running backs that are having big plays as well. So if you're a team that's getting ready to play this Storm, you can't just key in on one guy.
So Kennedy whips it out there to the left side, and that's going to go for a first down. Will it go for 6? No, he does not get into the end zone, but a great play there from Jared Secor because that ball was thrown in a very tight window, and Secor almost certainly could see those defenders advancing at him as he came after that ball and managed to haul it in and get to Skyview right on the doorstep.
Well, and that's what I'm talking about. Secor's a guy's name that we haven't called, and as soon as he gets the ball, he makes a big play. There are playmakers all over the field for the Storm.
And there's one of them, Trey Jacob, but he has nowhere to go, and a good stop there out of that Bethel Bison defense.
Yeah, here's the replay. Look at this. This is just a great job here. He makes a man miss, and then he runs through tackles. No one on this Storm team goes down easy. There's no, as much as I love him for the Seahawks, there's no Tyler Lockett's. No one's catching the ball and then sliding down so they don't get hit. Everyone is running through contact. I love that by the Storm. It's why they've made a bunch of big plays today.
And here's Kennedy, throws it to the outside. Poffenroth gets his touchdown, and there it is. Skyview does score their 4th touchdown of the night. Excuse me, their 5th touchdown of the night. My math is not all there, folks, and they are up 34-7. So Poffenroth doing the dirty work and getting rewarded here with a touchdown pass from Kennedy.
Right, and he deserved that. I'm always going to fight for my guys, and if you're going to go out and you're going to make big-time blocks, you deserve to get the ball. Great job by him, too, and you can see that's a nice little pop play. What he's doing is early on in the game, when they're running their inside zone plays, their dive plays, he's attacking and blocking that outside linebacker. Now you fake like you're going to block him. Nice little slip screen. You can see his defender falls right down on his face, and he opens himself easy for the touchdown.
There's the extra point, 35-7. Skyview making a statement here in their first playoff game of the year against Bethel. They are doing what they want to an offense. They are doing enough on defense to contain this dangerous Bethel run, and they are up 35-7 as we are approaching halftime. And folks, if you're going to stay with us, which I of course encourage you to do, we're going to have, it looks like the Skyview marching band will be performing at halftime. If we will bring that, as much of that to you as we can. We're also going to have some news from around Vancouver Public Schools. Make sure you stay tuned for that, including a cool award for a great assistant principal in our district who won the Assistant Principal of the Year. So we'll hear from him. And we got some other great stuff. So make sure you stick around, and you'll definitely want to see that Skyview marching band. Just always impressive to see as they gear towards their competition season and get their practice and their reps out here in front of the crowd. And I can't imagine it's easier to play a tuba in the rain than it is to throw a football.
I'll tell you what, I as someone who was not in the band, I don't know some of the difficulties, but I'll tell you what, I know it's not fun always playing football in the rain, having to deal with, all the mud or all the turf pellets sticking to you. I can only imagine what that's like while you try and play an instrument. Like, does the tuba get waterlogged? Is it like a ball? Is it an extra
does it come right down the hole, right into your mouth?
Right. How does that affect? These are the things that I need. We need a band breakdown of what they're going to have to deal with and fight through some adversity today.
So another squibber there. This one's going to scoot out of bounds, and Bethel's going to take it over with pretty decent field position here with about 56 seconds left to go. Yeah, and I've covered this marching band. We've done stories about them in the past, and they are athletes. You don't.
Oh yeah,
they
for
are
sure.
They do stretching before their performances because nobody wants to pop a hammy playing the trumpet. You know what I mean?
Yes, because that puts you on World Star so fast. You become a meme everywhere if you pull your hammy while you're going in the marching band playing the trombone.
and just thinking about that, marching sideways. You're using your lungs to play that instrument if you're, a horn player, but in motion, in perfect sync. And anyway, stay tuned for it. I have nothing but great things to say about those band performances. So here is Bethel, 1st and 10. Back to pass. We've got Barnes in at quarterback. He's going to whip it out. That ball's complete. Great little in route, but only about 5 yards on the pickup. Barnes, the sophomore, we saw him throw a pass on 4th down earlier, thrown into the game, and obviously they want him to get some passes in here as they try to march downfield with, about 35 seconds left here to go.
I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a lot more of Barnes in the second half with the score the way that it is. Bethel has to score, and they have to score fast, but they also have to be able to get stops of, the clock. Get the ball out to your wide receivers so they can get out of bounds. Or if it's an incomplete pass, then the clock stops. I would bet that they use Barnes more and more.
He gets the completion this time, whips it out there to Elijah Pula. We've been calling his name on the run all night long, this time on the catch, and that's going to be a 1st down, it looks like, for Bethel as they call their second timeout of the half.
Well, and this is a great throw here. I mean, you're throwing all the way across the field. You're putting it in a spot where the Skyview defender can't come up and make that interception, because I'll tell you what, it did look like Warner was in a good spot to make a pick, but Barnes just has better arm strength than he was able to get going there. I don't think that Egatol played bad today. In fact, I think he's been one of the big reasons that Bethel was able to drive down and score a touchdown and have another big score. But you can see that he's much more of that running quarterback in this offense, and they have more of the passing quarterback. It reminds me a little bit of Alabama back when they had Hurts and Tua, right? When Hurts was in, there was a lot more running of the ball. Of course they threw. It wasn't like he couldn't throw the ball, but he couldn't throw the ball as well as Tua could at that point in his career. So I think what you're going to see a lot more as Skyview has built up this lead is Barnes in the game, because he does have a little bit better precision and accuracy with the football. That being said, it wouldn't shock me if you saw Igatol out at that X or Z position at wide receiver, because they're going to want to make sure that they get the ball into his hands because he is such a dynamic playmaker.
So an empty backfield here for Bethel as Barnes is going to look to uncork this one. He's going to look to his left. He's got a man on a slant. That ball's nearly picked off, and actually more of a post route, I suppose. In any case, it is an incompletion, and that stops the clock with 8.8 seconds left here to go in the second quarter, and they're going to have a couple more shots at this before halftime.
Yeah, he's just a little out of sync here with his wide receiver. He throws it late. He throws it behind him, and to be honest, the way this Skyview team plays, normally that's going the other way. So a bit of a break there for the Bison. With one timeout left, I would think that you're going to try and see a quick pass here, a quick slant, something where you can get the ball out of Barnes' hands quick so that you can get onto the Skyview side of the field and then take your one Hail Mary shot. It would surprise me if they took this shot here right now, unless he's got arm strength, of a Pac-12 caliber quarterback.
So 3 on the front line. Rushing 4 is Skyview, and it's still enough to put Barnes on the move. This time he does throw it up for grabs and nearly intercepted by Riley Artis. It puts the receiver in that position where he's more of the cornerback. So Zadrius Rainey Sale able to break up the interception and give Bethel one more shot at this.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they wanted to do, what I had talked about, where you want to get the ball out of your quarterback's hand quick, give him something that's short, get the ball into his wide receiver's hands so they can get tackled, and then you have a legit shot at throwing it into the end zone. Because right now, where he's going to throw that football, it's going to be at least 55 yards to the end zone in the air. Now, that's not an unheard of distance for a quarterback to throw, but it's also not the easiest, especially at the high school level. I also wouldn't be shocked if you saw some sort of hook and ladder or a trick play here to try and confuse the storm. If I'm Skyview, what I would do is I'd take Artis and I'd send him all the way back, sit at the 10-yard line, nothing gets behind you, and it also puts you in a position to where if they do run a trick play, now you can attack downhill. You don't have to worry about someone sneaking behind your safety. That would be the smart move. You see a lot of teams, like I know the Patriots used to throw Rob Gronkowski back there. The Chiefs this year against the Vikings, they threw Travis Kelce back there. Throw someone so far deep that you can't get beat over the top, and then if they do run a trick play, you kind of have one last little safety valve.
We'll see what they dial up here. Again, that same formation we've seen so far with Barnes, where everybody's on the line except for him. Mm-hmm. Looks like Skyview's got 3 linemen. See if they bring anybody else here. And they got pretty good penetration there with just a 4-man rush last time. So Barnes back to pass, looking to his left again. He is going to throw it up deep, and this ball's going to sail and will be picked off. Now, Skyview does have a chance at this. Cameron Crooks makes the interception. He gets a block. He's going to run it up the right side, not a lot of room, and eventually drag down at the 32-yard line. So they took a shot. They didn't score, but Skyview makes the stop they needed to make and returns it back to the 32. And they're going to head to halftime now with a 35-7 lead. Here's the replay.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not much that you can do there. It almost seemed like Barnes thought that his wide receiver was going to go more towards the sideline. Great read on the ball there by Crooks, and then just trying to make something happen. You know what? Sometimes when you try and run it down your sideline, it allows those offensive linemen on a ball that's that deep to take an angle and actually be in a spot where they can make that stop. But I love the decision there by Crooks. There's no loss in you trying to take it back to the house. If you do score, it's an extra 6 to 7 points, right, that you steal. And if not, that's okay. You made a big play. But with Skyview getting the ball to start the half, this one could get kind of ugly really quick.
We'll have to see here. And hopefully we'll have a highlight reel for you here in just a moment. Our talented replay operator working on that, right? Noah back there. And if we don't, we'll bring one to you later. Oh, here we go. Thanks. You say his name, and he delivers. Noah, thanks for the great reel here. Perhaps. Oh, looks like we are back out to the huddle here for Bethel.
No, that's the start of the game. We're coming. The Storm are coming through the smoke.
Yes, I see.
It's fantastic. Ooh,
that's storytelling right there. That's Noah's.
Lineman almost lost his helmet. That would have been embarrassing. Right, ran through the tunnel, and the thing grabbed his helmet. Hey, I've been there, buddy. Strap it up a little tighter next time.
So here's that pass out to Packer, the first touchdown of the game. He's getting that great block from Artis before cutting back and breaking the tackle and powering his way into the end zone there. We saw a lot of Gavin Packer in the first half.
I'll tell you what, I am very impressed with the downfield blocking from the skill players of the Storm. They do a great job, and they're unselfish, fighting for their guys because they know when they get the ball, they want their guys to fight for them. There's
Austin Miller with that great return we saw in the first quarter as the Bison look to answer here, and this is the touchdown from Elijah Pula. I think I called that during the game for Lockley, but it was Pula with the touchdown. Now here's Kennedy rolling out to his right. We saw him in motion, rolling out a lot tonight.
Right.
And this time to Packer, who just doesn't want to go down, and he gets into the end zone. His second touchdown of the night.
Just running through people, getting the ball to your playmakers in space, and then it's also a great job by the offensive line to make those blocks.
Here's Kennedy whipping it back out there to Artis for his touchdown. Again, we see him in motion just enough to get the defense a little off kilter.
And then to make a huge play. And then this is the big throw to Packer, which as you start to see all the rain that's falling, makes it even more impressive. There's a lot of times where when it starts raining in high school, you see a lot of teams, they're unable to make those throws that they need to make. That's not the case with Packer and with Kennedy here. That's the only deep shot that we've seen him take, and it paid off big.
And here's that little flip out to Poffenroth after he had the touchdown pulled back. He gets his on the follow-up. So, folks, we are going to tell you what, let's take a look at a video real quick of some VPS news, and then we'll come back out here in a moment to show you that great Skyview band performance. As we head into halftime, it's 35-7 Skyview up over the Bethel Bison.
The Washington State Outstanding Assistant Principal.
A little overwhelming seeing everybody walk in, and when you see Jack Aaron walk into your school, you know that something big's going on.
We are so excited today that we get to announce that Dr. Nick Davies, assistant principal at Eisenhower Elementary and Ogden Elementary, is the Washington State 2024 Elementary Assistant Principal of the Year.
I'm extremely humbled that people would nominate me and that the state would recognize me like this. There's a lot of amazing assistant principals out there.
Really what stood out to us was Nick's ability to really connect with each and every kid at 2 large elementary schools, and for 2 staffs and for 2 lead principals to say, gosh, when he's here, it feels like he's never been gone.
Just grateful for all of the support that everyone's given me. Everyone knows you can't do anything by yourself. Yeah, I'm being recognized, but there's been so many people who have helped me along the way that it's all for them too.
We're just so proud of him. We're just so proud of him, and we can't wait to share his great leadership throughout the state.
All of our drivers that they are the face of VPS. They're the first person that kids are going to see in the morning. They're the last ones that they see.
Marching Band. Let's give it up for the Skyview Marching Band. What a great performance. That takes hours and hours of practice by a lot of people. Nice work out there.
An excavator does its job, moving dirt from here to there. Behind the controls is not a journeyman, but rather a high school student trying to figure out their career path.
I want to work with my hands. I don't want to be in an office.
At the recent Dozer Days event, students in the district's construction trades and advanced manufacturing programs took the next step toward their future. Hello, and welcome to Learning to Work. I'm Mark Reith, the Director of Career and Technical Education in Vancouver Public Schools. For little kids who attend Dozer Days, it's a day of fun. For high schoolers, it's fun, sure, but it's also a glimpse into their potential careers. In the pavilion at the Clark County Fairgrounds, more than a dozen companies and organizations are gathered to recruit the next generation of building and manufacturing professionals.
It's great. I love it. So, you gotta, meet so many new people, hear about so many new things. Just, even if you come here, not knowing what you want to do, maybe you'll find something.
Through conversations with potential employers and with professionals in the field, students are able to narrow down their interests.
They just gave me information, just giving information, giving our resumes, making connections with people.
There are so many job opportunities in the trades, it can be overwhelming.
Coming in here, I was more interested in maybe operating equipment, but then talking to the equipment operators and then going right, 10 feet over and talking to the electricians, I realized that the electrician sounds more my style and like what I want to do.
I would like to do a little bit of everything, but like welding, manufacturing would be cool, yeah.
Students are learning professional skills and certifications in the construction trades and advanced manufacturing programs, so they're ready to take the next step upon graduation.
I've definitely learned a lot more math than I would in the regular classroom. Learning how to problem solve, I go to my teacher, hey, I don't know how to do this. Well, go ask a coworker, or go try to find 3 solutions and come back to me and we can talk about it. It's pretty good for problem solving, in the real world, yeah.
Depending on what they want to do, the real world might include college or trade programs, or going right to work.
I'm really, really happy I got my pass set already.
The Nutter Foundation puts on the annual Dozer Days event. Demand for qualified workers in the trades is high, so if you're interested in one of the district's programs, check out the website, vansd.org/choices. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Mark Reith.
Welcome back to Kiggins Bowl, where Skyview is up 35-7 over Bethel here to start the second half. We've seen a lot of offensive firepower here out of Skyview in the air. We've seen a lot of ground firepower. I don't know if you call it ground firepower. Ground power from
ground
Bethel here.
And pound is what I would call it. It's the old-fashioned 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Clash of styles, and Skyview is winning it at this point. Up 35-0. It's been the Gavin Packer show. We've seen a couple of touchdowns out of him already. We've seen a touchdown from Gavin Poffenroth, and we've seen a touchdown from Riley Artis, and Jake Kennedy has it dialed in. And now the question is, what can Bethel do to narrow this gap and make it a game here in the fourth quarter? Third quarter obviously about to start, a big one. They need to get a stop here. Skyview receiving the ball to start the half after getting out to this big lead. So kind of excited to see what adjustments the coaches are going to make and whether or not Bethel can do what it needs to do, and if we're going to see more Evan Barnes at quarterback. It's a lot of questions here starting the second half.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Skyview, I don't change a darn thing. Keep getting the ball to your playmakers in space. I don't think they've had a single drive come up empty, and I think your longest drive this entire game has been, what, a minute 30, minute 40? I think they're going to just keep doing what they've been doing this entire game and find the ball into guys like Packer and Artis' hands.
Well, there's Packer right here with the ball. He picks it up at about the 2-yard line. Now he's going to break it across the 20, across the 40. He's got a blocker out in front of him. Will he go all the way? Gavin Packer continues his night of amazement as he scores his 3rd touchdown. Skyview with the opening statement here of the 3rd quarter. Wow.
When you're hot, you're hot. And I'll tell you what, Gavin Packer is scorching right now. Not the best return that I've ever seen on fielding this kickoff right here. I mean, it's put in a spot where it's hard for Packer to pick up. He takes a bad angle, decides, you know what, I'm going to pick it up and try and run with it. And then he just outruns everybody. He sets up his blockers to give himself, people in space in between him and the defenders. And then he just outruns everyone. Look at him go. He's looking, trying to see if anyone's going to catch him. He knows no one will catch him. Great job by the Storm coverage team there, making sure they don't block anyone in the back. What an absolute play to start the second half there for the Storm and from Packer.
Yeah, you saw Colby Warner out there on the block getting out ahead of his teammate. Just great team special teams there. And here's the extra point. Up and good. So 42-0. We had all these questions 15 seconds ago, and Skyview has answered at least one of them. What are they going to do? They're going to come out and keep playing hard, and they take a big lead, 42-7. Wow. So if you're Bethel, how do you recover from that? You go into the locker room at halftime, you have the game plan, you make changes, and you come out and you give up the big play right away. It's got to be a very difficult process of turning the corner for those players and coaches.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's a backbreaker. That's something right there that's going to kill any momentum. All that you can do as a Bethel player there is basically say, hey, you know what, that doesn't count. That was basically the same as the first half score. Like, we're just going to pretend like it's only 15 seconds. It's not that big of a deal. We have to act and treat it like we went into halftime down 42-7. We got to score a bunch of points. We got to come out, and we're going to probably have to throw the ball more than we were already wanted to. You knew that was going to be the halftime game plan anyways. That doesn't change at all. So if you're Bethel right now, you just got to do your best to flush it and then come out guns a-blazing. If I'm Skyview right there, build on this, get to that 49, point total, get into the 50s, get the running clock going and try and end this fast, and then also try and stay healthy, right? This game is far from over. That's not what I'm saying. But also what you have to do is you want to escape this game with everyone available. That way that you go into next week fully healthy, and if you can get some extra rest, that's an added bonus.
So here's that squibber we saw earlier, this time fielded cleanly and downed. So Pula with the smart play just sort of grabs it and puts his knee down, and Bethel's going to start with the ball around the 33-yard line, and we'll see who comes out at quarterback here and kind of give us a clue as to what offensive approach we're going to be seeing from Bethel here in the second half.
Looks like I think
it's
Barnes.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like Barnes.
The sophomore Evan Barnes, we saw throw some passes there at the end of the second quarter. And it looks like they might keep rolling with that as they need to get some points on the board here quickly.
Right. Well, and like we said before, Igatol is a pure athlete and the kid's an absolute stud. But Barnes is a little bit more of that passer there, so I would look to see Bethel try and get the ball in the air.
Of course, this first play, they hand it off to Lockley, and he's going to pick up about 2 yards on the carry.
Right. But as we've talked about before, you can have those 2 and 3 yard runs when this game is 0-0 or 7-7, 14-7, 21-7. Once you start falling behind and you have 3 or 4 or 5 touchdowns that you have to make up, you're going to have to start getting big chunk plays. So unless they think they're going to get a big chunk play on the ground, I would expect to see the ball get thrown a lot more in the coming plays for the Bison. Almost went with their old mascot name.
See, the officials now slow the game down here. It looks like Hezekiah Tua, I don't know if he has an injury or something. They asked him to get off the field, and he's replaced and kind of mad as he came off. We'll see what that's about if he re-enters the game here soon.
That could be a big loss there from the Storm. He's made a bunch of plays, Tua, from that defensive end spot. He's been a dynamo for them.
So Lockley with the carry again. He's going to pick up about a yard, and Bethel's looking at about a 3rd and 7.
I wonder if they'll go here to those screen passes that they tried with Igatol early that weren't able to get completed, because you can get it's an easier pass and catch for Barnes to just get the ball to his wide receiver in space on that smoke screen, as opposed to trying to run a flood concept or try and run a couple hitches or a couple slants. Get the ball out in space to his wide receiver and see if they can make someone miss.
So 3rd and 7 from this 36-yard line. Bard's under center. He's going to hand it off to the up man. That ball's on the turf. Skyview believes it has it. We'll see what the officials have to say about it. Looks like Levi Webb in the area. Some other.
Looks like they're saying 4th down. The Bison were able to get back on it.
So lost a yard on the fumble, and then they're facing a 4th and 8. See if they're just going to keep going on offense and let the chips fall where they may, or if they're going to punt this one away. It looks like they're going to go for it.
Barnes just never put that in Pula's arms. He put it a little bit off to the side. Pula wasn't able to get his arms on it, and then when the ball, when it's raining like this and the ball is as wet as it is, it's already hard to take a handoff like that when it's given to you right in your rib cage. When it's wet, it's almost impossible. That's going to lead to that fumble every single time.
So Barnes back to pass. Here comes Webb. Webb on hot pursuit. Takes him down. Levi Webb, the junior, did not give up, had a hole, and outran Barnes.
Yeah, it looked like they almost forgot to block Webb there from the Bison. It looked like there was some miscommunication there by that offensive line unit. He comes in completely untouched from that defensive end spot. No one even near him. And then to have the athleticism to go and make the play, not miss. You see a lot of high school kids when they get into that spot, it's almost like they don't know what to do. They just run straight at the quarterback, and then they put themselves in a bad leverage spot. That's not at all what Webb did. He comes in from a great trail position. He runs through the tackle, grabs Barnes by his legs, so he's not able to throw the football away. And now all of a sudden, we talked about that middle 8. We're looking at the 4th opportunity for Skyview to score in that middle 8. That's going to be huge on why this lead grows and grows and grows.
And there's Kennedy. Good hands out of Artis there. That ball difficult to catch. It was the only place he could put it for a reception, and Artis went out and grabbed it. Picks up a difficult 5 yards.
Yeah.
So Artis showing the hands there. Again, this wide receiver core is deep and talented.
Right. We've been talking a lot about Packer today, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of other wide receivers in this group, and frankly a very good tight end as well, that, if you go after Packer and you put him into double coverage or you bracket him, you're going to leave a guy wide open just like Artis for that touchdown.
Wow, no one within 10 yards of Riley Artis. He scores his 2nd touchdown of the night, and Skyview is up 48-7. Wow.
That's a great play there. You can see that it's a little fake. It's a double move there from Artis as he's going through. Kennedy gives a little pump like he's going to throw a short hitch there or a slant. Artis then kicks it into high gear, and he just outruns everybody. Look at this. It's a great little design. That little fake there with his shoulders, that brings the safety and the corners down. Artis is all by himself. Shoot, I could have made that throw and catch. It was that wide open. That's a great play design. That's great execution, and that's a great touchdown there.
I don't think Coach would have called that one for you, but Kennedy and Artis make it look easy, and here's the extra point coming in. Ball is up and through the upright. So Skyview up 49-0 over the Bethel Bison.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I am very impressed, not just with the play design and the play calling timing right now from the Storm, but also by the execution from the players and the attention to detail in their assignment. If your job is to go out and block for someone on a screen pass, it doesn't matter if they're an offensive lineman, a tight end, a running back, a wide receiver, they go and they get their job done. If your job is to pump fake right here and then go deep, they do a great job of that at the quarterback position, at the wide receiver position of knowing when to hit their double move. It is just a very well-coached team that executes at a high level. That is why they are beating Bethel right now, because I do not believe that this Bison team is a bad team. They are a quality football program. What you are seeing is a team that is executing at almost a 90% clip right now in this Skyview Storm team. That's how dang good they are.
Yeah, and you see it's a lot of upperclassmen. We see a lot of juniors, a lot of seniors getting playing time, and that's where all those reps as freshmen and sophomores and juniors kind of come in handy.
Right.
When you get to the end of this, you've done this a lot of times, and you've done it in difficult conditions, and weather-wise, it's a difficult condition here tonight. And so back to kick here is our mysterious number 47. And that ball is up for grabs. Skyview puts hands on it. Did they recover?
I think they got that. I think they got that after it hit 1,000 different hands.
Yep, Skyview with the recovery. That's one of those, I don't know if it's even is it an attempt to do a traditional onside kick, or is that just a weird squib that took a Skyview bounce? Because we haven't seen him go deep with those kicks since the first quarter.
Right, and I wouldn't think that you would onside kick that there, but
Kind of looked like an onside kick.
Right. At the same time, like maybe you go for the onside now because then you score, you get the running clock, and then you don't have to worry about it, and this game can end quicker. It's one of those, like, let's just get the running clock going, we end it quick. But that's a great job there by Warner because he is not supposed to get the onside kick. He's supposed to knock people out of the way who are coming from that second line. And after it hit so many darn hands, it just fell right into his lap. That's a great play by him for the Storm. And I think they're going to try and score, and they're going to try and score quick here so that they can get some of their starters out. They can get that clock running, and they can get more reps for some of those younger players so that when they are juniors and seniors, they're not unused to what a playoff atmosphere is like.
Or, I mean, even later in this year, if somebody gets hurt in this playoff round, you've got somebody who's not coming in for the first time.
Exactly.
Wow, great little run of Allinger up the middle. I find myself saying wow a lot tonight. I try not to I try not to say that, but I feel that way every time they have these big plays. Allinger gets a big hole, pokes his way through, and picks up a Skyview first down. And he just came on a moment ago. Jacob asked to leave the field for an equipment issue, and here comes Allinger right up the middle.
Right. Well, and that's a great job by the offensive line, winning their one-on-one blocks, opening up a wide-open hole, and then Allinger running through 2 or 3 arm tackles on his way up to the safety before he's finally able to get dragged down. Again, I've been talking about it all night. The execution that this Skyview Storm is executing at, it's got to be in the 90 percentile.
And here's Allinger again. This time Bethel all over it. He has nowhere to go. Going to maybe get back to the line of scrimmage, and it'll be a long second down. So Bethel playing the run and coming up with the big stop.
Right, but now you're starting to see that clock tick, and this is where I think you're going to see a flip in play styles to a degree where you're going to see Skyview start running the football more because they know they can, and they want to run as much clock off as they can. You've scored enough points here where you feel like you're executing at a high level, running the football. You're still going to end this drive in points, but you want that clock to run out because it is your friend. You want it moving.
And there's Allinger again up the middle. This time he's going to pick up about 5 yards, and Skyview's going to look at about a 3rd and 3 as they try to get that clock into running mode. Try to end this game a little faster, which I'm sure the rain-soaked crowd would appreciate. Looks like we have an illegal motion there, if I'm not mistaken, on Skyview, so we're going to redo that one.
Yeah, it looked like you had someone moving a little bit forward towards the line from what I saw. You can't do that. Got to make sure that you're running diagonal or you are running backwards as you go through. Just got to be a little bit smarter there. But like we had talked about before, at the wide receiver positions and at the running back, you're starting to see some of those backups starting to get more and more time. So those are some of those mistakes that happen when you get that second unit in.
Here's the flip out to Allinger. He takes it about 3 yards before getting leveled. Great bit of pursuit there. That looked like that was perhaps Lance Santos on the tackle.
Yeah, that's I like that play call there. Try and get the ball to Allinger, but try and get it to him in space, right? We talked about how well that this Skyview wide receiving core had done blocking for each other. That one there, Bethel just had an extra guy that was in that outside spot, and they were able to make the play. It had nothing to do, I think, with the Skyview wide receivers, just one more guy there than they could block.
Here's a handoff to Eric Botnan now into the game at running back. The senior takes it about 2 to 3 yards and is pulled down. It's interesting, he's been, from the games I have seen this year, which is about 5 or 6, he's been the primary backup, and tonight we're seeing Allinger get some of those carries, and now Botnan in. Botnan, of course, a key piece of that Skyview defense, and a very talented running back in his own right, and we've seen him have a lot of success this year. Kind of a change of pace back as well for Skyview because most of the running backs are these smaller, faster players. Botnan more of a bruiser. We'll see what he can do here on 4th and 11 with Kennedy in shotgun and 3 receivers up on the top side of your screen.
Yeah, interesting decision to kick it or to not kick it. It must be the weather, and it is a decent distance for a high school kid.
So here's the little inside screen, and that's not going to go anywhere for Crooks, and Bethel's going to get a stop. It needed.
Yeah, that's a good play there by Bethel. I think if Crooks gets an opportunity to run that tunnel screen again, he's going to see he had space to the outside. He needs to catch that ball, tuck, turn, and knife immediately to the left. As you look at this, I know they're trying to set it up for a run up here in the middle, but that's where all the Bethel defenders are. If he can get to that outside, I actually do think he ends up at minimum getting the first down, but also getting to the end zone. But you know what? Sometimes when you catch the ball and you're running that hard in, it's hard to adjust and get back out, especially in the rain. You don't want to slip. You don't want to fall. And so that could be, something where the elements hindered him from being able to make that sharp cut and get back to the outside. And that's just great pursuit from the Braves, making sure that they get there because they had to have a stop. You can't let Skyview get the first down or score there because then this game really would be over.
Here's a run up the middle. Great bit of running there out of Pula again. We've seen some good runs from him to those little up man handoffs where he just got a little bit of room and he squirts right through the hole and gets positive yards, and there's a first down.
Right. He's a strong downhill runner. He's not afraid to stick his nose into it. I've been really impressed with the way that he has run the football in this game. I'm still a little surprised that we haven't seen Bethel try to throw the ball a little bit more, but I wonder if they're almost overthinking it or outthinking everybody like, hey, they think we're going to pass, so now we can run because more things are going to be open up the middle, and they seem to be.
There's Pula again with the carry. Spins his way up to another first down, it appears.
He put 2 people in a spin cycle there. That was pretty impressive. Watch this. As soon as he gets the ball, it's a quick little spin to the inside. Bop! Makes a man miss. Runs through an arm tackle, and it takes 3 Storm players to bring him down. He's a big, strong, physical kid. When he gets running downhill and he starts getting ahead of steam going, he's hard to get on the ground.
So 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line here for Bethel. Barnes with another handoff, this time to Lockley. He doesn't have a lot of space, but he's going to push that pile forward for about 3 yards. Again, we talked about him in the first half, a big, strong runner who can keep that momentum going forward. And he does there. It picks up about 3 yards. So 2nd and 7 here.
Yeah, and you see Bethel, they're starting to speed up. They're not having their quarterback go all the way to the sideline. They have to. Right now, you only have 14 minutes left of this game, 2 in this quarter and 12 in the 4th. So you got to start hurrying up. You got to start having a sense of urgency if you want to get back in this game.
Another handoff to Lockley. He breaks an arm tackle, keeps pushing forward, and he's near that first down marker, about a yard short. So just simple football, hand it off, run it up the middle, use your strength, and they're moving the football. At this point, too, with a minute and a half left here in the 3rd quarter, a comeback is unlikely. They're just trying to play good football and run their offense.
Right. Good hard-nosed football. Well, and, as you look at a lot of these kids on this Bethel team, there are some good seniors in some key positions, but there's also a lot of juniors and sophomores in key positions as well. So it can be something where, you try and build on what can this team be in the future, and you never know, right? I don't want to bring up some bad memories for teams in this area, and obviously this score is a lot different, but it would not be the first time that we've seen something funky happen in some GSHL football.
So a low pitch, but Lockley manages to pick it back up off the turf and gets himself a first down. So the ball moving here for Bethel, as does the clock. We are at about 45 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter. And look at that. You see the ball guy. We don't call him a ball boy, but the ball guy, no sleeves on. I was thinking about that earlier. This rainy night, like one of the most important players people on the field is not the players, it's the ball guy. Keeping that ball dry, keeping it moving in and out.
Well, hey,
working hard.
As an offensive lineman, you're always going to see me railing against sleeves. I'm not a sleeve guy. They just make it slippier and they make you colder when it's raining. So you got to go short sleeve there. I appreciate that the ball guy is keeping with our traditions.
Pula with the big carry there. They are moving this football really well, and you do see some second-line players here for Skyview in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Some younger players, maybe not as large as the offensive line we're seeing here out of
What a
Bethel.
Great trap block. What a great trap block there by the Bethel guard to come in, absolutely decleat the guy, and then it's just Pula making guys miss as he gets going downhill. He has great vision to be able to see where the hole is, see where the defenders are, and where he needs to put himself in a position so that he can have a big play for the Bison.
So 49-7 here at the end of the 3rd quarter. We're looking forward to a fun 4th quarter. And folks, while I have a second, there's some people who work for Vancouver Public Schools who deserve some kudos. These are the Employee Excellence Award winners for, I just jumped over we're doing crew cam. I'm sorry, guys. Let me talk about this and then we'll get to it. These are the Employee Excellence Award winners for October. Some of the great employees across, nominated by their peers and recognized by the school board for their outstanding performance in their schools. Congratulations to Kelsey Andrzejewski, Marisol Garcia, Hilda Lale, Jackie Sachs, Rainther Sancher, and Sarah Williams. And if you want to nominate someone for an Employee Excellence Award, go to vansd.org/employee excellence. Now let's do our crew cam. These are the students who are working on our broadcast tonight. braving the elements.
Look at them.
There's Kale running camera 4, keeping himself dry under that cover. We've got students, as I mentioned earlier, from Skyview, from Fort Vancouver, from iTech Prep, and we are back to action here. And great job to all those students. Sorry, I jumped all over your moment in the sun here.
Well, you know, the sun is shining bright. They've been fantastic, though, today. That's a nice play there by Skyview, not to let Pula get a full head of steam going as they get the handoff right up the middle.
So another first down for Bethel as they are moving down towards the right side of your screen here. We want to thank you if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on Comcast. We're glad you're here. If Skyview hosts, there's a fumble on the ground that looks like Skyview picked that one up. Yeah.
Is that Warner again? That is Warner again. What a great play by him to read that the ball was on the ground.
It looked like for a moment that he was going to have that football that Barnes was. He had it in his hand. It kind of just squirted out maybe when it hit the wet turf. It's tough to say.
Well, and some teams, if they like to use that leather ball, it can be harder to grip when it starts raining. You'll see a lot of teams, once it does start raining, you move to that more of a composite football. Although if you're using the leather during the normal season when it's not raining as much, that shift over to the composite football where it's a little tackier can mess up how you like to hand the ball off, how you like to throw. You know how temperamental quarterbacks can be with that football. Though sometimes when you are trying to use the leather, it is just so slick with all the wet and all the water that's on it. You lose the ball, and I think that's what happened there with Barnes.
So Skyview runs its second team offense in here. Brady Davis in at quarterback. He's going to hand it off to Levi Webb. He's going to get just back to the line of scrimmage. Skyview giving these guys a shot to get a little playoff football under their belts and see what they can do against this tough Bethel defense.
Well, and it's these minutes and this time right here for Skyview that's huge because this builds on next year and the year after. Or if, and I'm not putting that out there because I don't want this to happen, but if there is an injury, you're going to need these twos, these threes to step up and make big-time plays in some key moments. It might not be this year. It might be next year, but you need them to be ready. These reps here are essential so that way they don't come in having never played in a playoff football game before.
And there's Levi Webb. The flag comes in at the end. He doesn't pick up much there. Let's see what the call is.
I think he fumbled the football.
I think you might be right. Looks like some hands, and it looks like, Bethel. We had Bethel against Skyview earlier, and it's Bethel, and I was proud that I haven't messed it up until right now. But that's a penalty against Skyview. Bethel recovers the fumble, and they're going to take over and have another shot here on offense. So trading fumbles are the Storm and the Bison. See right there, it just comes out.
Yeah, that's Pula again. Great play. He gets his hand in there, and I know Webb's mad about it right now, but Pula gets his hand in there and gets a nice little peanut punch on it. Charles Tillman, Chicago Bears reference for you, and he's able to punch the ball out. That's a big-time play. There's a reason that the senior has been playing so well for Bethel, not just in this game, but this entire season. It's because he makes key plays like that.
And there he is with the carry, picking up about 4 yards. Hey, well, we have a moment. We got a message earlier tonight from Richard Heckelar, who says he's in Holland watching this football game. So,
wow.
Richard, thanks for tuning in, and we're glad to have you. And I wish I knew some Dutch phrase I could say, but I don't. So,
well, I only know Dutch bros, but I don't think that's the same.
I don't think so either. So 2nd and 6 here for Bethel. We've still got Barnes in at quarterback. He's going to hand it to the up man again. This time it's a little bit of room for Pula. He's going to break a tackle and go all the way.
What a
Elijah
great
Pula.
run.
Wow. I keep saying wow. I got to stop.
Well, that was a fantastic run there. That's a great play design. The Bethel offensive line, they win at the point of attack. And then it's the big fella getting downhill. He's running through arm tackles. What you saw early on from the Skyview defense is they didn't let him get going too far downhill. When he was running and he was getting in space, they had a bunch of different defenders there, so he wasn't able to start getting his strides going in that play. He gets his strides running through, and he's faster than a lot of people give him credit for because you talk about him being this big bruising back. Right there, he showed his speed. When he gets out into the open space, he'll run away from people, and that's how he's able to get into the end zone.
Especially late in this game when you're talking about a two-way player. You know, we've seen him on every play on offense. We've seen him on every play on defense, and to have the motor to do that this deep in the game shows what an athlete he is.
Right. Well, and it also shows you that that's a senior who knows he has to fight for every single down, every single yard, every single play. I love to see that in what could be his last game, at least at his high school, to go down and get a touchdown at the end. That's awesome for the kid.
And here's Igatol back in the game to run the 2-point conversion. He's going to go back to pass, roll into his left. He's got a man, and that is 2 points. Looks like the helmet comes off of Igatol, and he has something to say about it, and there's the flag. I don't quite understand that. Colby Warner with the hit, and the helmet comes flying off, and a little bit of chatter at the end earns a flag for Bethel.
Yeah, I think that's a kid who's, he's a little frustrated right now. The game might not be going exactly the way that he wants, and sometimes you need that fire. I'll tell you what, I want a team with that kind of fire. Obviously, you have to be smarter. You can't be running your mouth like that to where you cost your team 15 yards, especially when you're down already by so much. But to come out and say, hey, I'm not going to quit, I'm not going to be done, that's something that's always going to get respect from me because it's easy. Look at the score, 49 to 13 at that point. All right, this one's over. I'm done. There's 8 minutes. Who cares? No. Come out and fight till the very end. Go out on your shield. I do like that aggression and that temperament. Just be smart and don't get the flag.
Yeah. Looks like the officials are going to be speaking to the coaches now, coming out onto the field, and you can see how wet it is. Look at these guys out here. Sometimes when the camera's back, you don't see the raindrops, but you can see how wet it is out there, and the conditions are pretty rough, and the officials talking it over with the coaches to see what they want to do about this. I'm not sure if they're saying it was a one-way talk or, and look, the coach is shaking hands there, and they have a good sense of where we are here, what this is about. It's about making sure kids are safe and happy. So.
Well, and I think sometimes, guys, in the heat of the moment, they get a little too fired up, and you have two teams here with a bunch of players that want to compete, and they compete hard, and they're not afraid to jaw-jack a little bit. And sometimes you have to be reminded there's a reason why referees are here. They're to keep everybody safe, and sometimes you have to be reminded, hey, we love the fire, we love the passion, we love the energy, but we don't need to be jaw-jacking each other. We don't need to, have any late hits after any plays. There's no reason to get anyone hurt. Play hard, play between the whistles, and let's leave it at that.
And keep moving. Yeah, it's about the football and not about the competition exactly. You know what I mean? The competition is football and not something personal. So good job on the refs and the coaches there to sort of put a button on this and keep the game moving. And, now the Bethel Bison kicking off here, down by 34 points. See if we'll see an onside attempt here, or if they're going to boot it deep, and you see
They had it flipped. Bethel had been going, and they had just scored. Everyone thought it was still the third quarter.
That's funny. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a team line up on the wrong side, and the refs have to say, wait a minute, let's flip this.
Well, and it wasn't just one. It was both. And Skyview came out like they thought that's where they were supposed to be on the field. It's been a long time since I've seen something like that. That's like that's Little League. That is CCYF Pop Warner football that you usually see that. You don't typically see that at the high school level and beyond.
Now you see the ball moving backwards for that penalty. And you also wonder, we talk about focusing, right, on the game and not the emotion, and how much of that was simply the players were caught up in what they just saw.
Right.
And they lined up on the wrong side.
Right. Well, and sometimes, like we talked about, you're starting to see a lot of the second and third team guys for Skyview get some opportunities. And they're getting their first opportunities in a playoff game. Sometimes when you get those opportunities, you get so jacked up that you don't even know what side of the field you're supposed to be on, So I think that might have just happened there with some of the guys of like, oh, well, this is where we should be, and this is where I'm going to get lined up at.
So they do kind of pop it up in the air. This ball is going to roll out of bounds, which will be another flag, but Skyview is going to take over they're going to take over wherever it's spotted. I didn't see, is that a...
Right. Well, it didn't. Normally, you take over at the 35,
but the ball
didn't even get to the 35. So, I would assume it would just be a spot foul. Then you get the ball right where it went out of bounds, or maybe it moves up 5 yards. I'm not exactly sure. I like that decision there by Packer. A lot of guys, when you kind of have the hot hand, you've been playing extremely well. You might want to try and take another opportunity. Hey, I just ran the last kickoff back. Why don't I take another opportunity to try and run this kickoff back? Instead, hey, you know what? That ball is going to go out of bounds. There's not that much time left in this game. Let's let our two offense get out there. Who's to say that I would run it back? Maybe yes, maybe no. But the smart decision, let the ball go out of bounds, and then we'll live to fight another day.
So here's Davis, the senior backup. He's going to hand it off to Allinger. Makes an inside move, gets back across the line of scrimmage. Good penetration there out of Bethel, but Allinger manages to get his way back across the line of scrimmage and pick up about a yard. And, you know, you were mentioning Packard there. Unlikely to make another appearance on offense. That is kind of his last shot tonight.
Right.
And, like you say, wisely pulls back.
Yeah, well, you know what? Sometimes the smart decision isn't always the fun decision.
That's life.
That's what I'm learning as I get older, right? So sometimes you have to make the smart decision, and I like that he made that decision there. It's smart. Hey, don't take an extra hit that you don't need to, but also you're now building with this second and third offensive unit. Let them get the reps that they deserve just in case you need them later on this year or in future years.
And there's Allinger with another carry. Not really a clean handoff there, but manages to make a positive play out of it. Picks up about 5 yards, and Skyview going to look at it about a 3rd and 3 here as the clock continues to move. About 6.5 minutes left in this football game.
That was a great job there by Davis. That snap came in a little high and a little hot, and to be able to get that ball and get it into his running back's hands, well, it might not have been the cleanest handoff you've ever seen. It was still an impressive job because that's easy for it to go over the quarterback's head or go through his hands, and then all of a sudden it's a big loss instead of a gain.
Here we're going to see another handoff to Allinger. He cuts it back. Good tackling there, just in the right spot. Trying to get a number on the big guy, number 58. That looks like Salmamo Jamar Tazi, a name we've called a couple of times tonight. A big guy and in the right place at the right time to make that tackle.
I'm impressed that the junior can move like that. At 6'3", 300 pounds, a lot of kids at, that 16, 17 years old, they're not able to move quite as quick as he was able to get there or, frankly, as laterally as he was able to move. A lot of those guys, when you're 300 pounds, speaking from experience, you get running downhill, you're not turning much. So that was an impressive play there by him to be able to make that stop.
Now, that ball loose. Skyview, that ball's still on the turf, picked up now by Lockley. He stiff arms. He's still on his feet. He's headed to the end zone. Touchdown, Bethel.
Wow. That is, now I'm saying wow. Great play there by Lockley to be able to stiff arm someone off him, grab the ball, and run into the end zone. That's tough. It looks like you've got an injured Davis walking off the field. That ball is just snapped over his head, trying to grab the ball, unable to grab it. It looks like he hurt himself as he was trying to get the ball. Ball's bouncing around. Great play by Lockley. Not only to get it, but then still be able to stiff arm, have the strength and speed to outrun everybody else into the end zone. That's a huge play from Bethel. And now all of a sudden, you were getting 2s and 3s, some reps, 5 minutes left. It wouldn't shock me if you saw some of the ones from Skyview come back out just to make sure that you can finish the deal and don't let this game get any closer or any friskier. Stranger things have happened. All of a sudden, Bethel's getting some momentum. Time to chop the head off and not let them feel like they're getting back into this game.
And they're coming out going for 2 here, trying to cut this lead any way they can. Looks like we've got Evans back in it. Excuse me, Barnes, thank you. Evan Barnes back in at quarterback. He's going to pitch it back. There's Pooley. He's met by a wall of storm and going to end up short there. And Skyview looking here to hold on to this lead and try to put an end to this thing.
Right. If you're Skyview here, that's 2 big stops that they've been able to have the Bison on you, and it's led to quick scores for the Bison. When you go and try and do that pooch punt, I like the idea. It makes Bethel honor it. If they're not lined up the correct way, you can go for it. But then you would also think with your backup QB, your starting punter, you'd go after it. Wow.
This guy is really loving his Friday night. Great effort there out of the band member.
After it. That was fantastic. I need a last name on the band members, but
now that's a Bethel band member. We've been hyping up the Skyview band. Bethel brought its band too, or as many people as they could, and they're rocking as well.
Well, hey, when you get a scoop and score on a punt, you might as well. That's a huge play, though, because Bethel didn't have to take any time off the clock. We know they like to run the football. So to be able to score on a turnover like that, it completely changes this game. Now, all of a sudden, you can go for this onside kick. It makes sense. If you get the football back, 3 scores, funkier things have happened. Skyview needs to recover this and take 3 to 4 minutes off the clock and just end it.
Yeah, Skyview with the return or the hands team in there. Nobody back deep for them. They're anticipating the onside kick. The ball kicked over their head, and Trey Jacobs is just going to land on it, and Smart play there to just recover that football and give Skyview possession.
Right. That was a good decision there by Jacobs. You could see it right when they were about to punt. He realized that no one was there. Sorry, kickoff. And so he starts running backwards because as soon as they lined up with everyone up front, that was exactly what I thought. If you kick that ball to about the 30 to 25 and you get it to stick in there, you're going to get there right around the same time that the Skyview guys are getting there, and you're running downhill while they're running back trying to, catch some speed up. That was a great play by Jacobs to recognize that and get back in position to be able to recover that ball safely.
And back into the game is Kennedy. He's going to pitch it back into the backfield. Botnan with the carry. Not a lot of space there. So I'm not sure if it's a coaching decision for putting the starting quarterback in to kind of put a hold on this, or as you mentioned, you saw Davis perhaps injured on the last play.
Yeah, Davis came out limping, and he spent a lot of time sitting on the ground trying to get it looked like some lower body injury. I don't want to speculate on that about what kind of lower body injury, but it wouldn't shock me if, with him out and the way that Bethel has been scoring, hey, let's get Kennedy back in there. Let's get a couple first downs, and let's end this game now. We don't need to screw around and have any more turnovers or turnover on downs and give Bethel a chance to get back into this.
Of course, Bethel now responding on defense, suffocating that Botnan run. And, it's nice to have a senior like Botnan to come in as your backup who's going to have good hands and take care of that football. Of course, now he trots off and Allinger comes back in, but it's a luxury for them to have that sort of player to come in. And Skyview now looking at a 3rd and 9. From its own 20-yard line.
And Botnan's a true change of pace. He is a downhill hard nose where you've got a little more shiftiness in Allinger and Jacobs. So it's cool to see the differences in running styles.
This ball flipped out. Kennedy just avoids the blitz there, manages to flip it out to Allinger, but it's not quite in the right spot. Now Allinger comes up with a limp. These cold, wet nights, they are, as you get to the end of the night, they can be dangerous for players, just little injuries like that. And he's staying on the field. But Allinger definitely with a limp right now coming off.
Well, and it's a full season of wear and tear too. Like you forget, this is 10 weeks of going up against other teams where you're getting hit and banged on, and that's also not counting, if you do a scrimmage before the season, you've got 2 to 3 weeks of your training camp that you're going through as well. So when you start looking at it, it's like, hey, it's week 10. Well, really it's week like 12 or 13. That's a lot of wear and tear that some of these guys can take. So sometimes those late, cold, rainy nights when you take that hit with 3 minutes left in the game, that hurts a little bit more, and it brings up some of the bumps and bruises that you were able to play through and not really notice week 1 and 2 that start rearing their ugly head.
So 4th and 9 here from Skyview. And, folks, we are watching playoff games from around our area. Most of our local teams are winning tonight. We saw Skyview up 49-0 at halftime. Seton Catholic winning its game handily. Unfortunately, we saw Battleground losing. Looks like Kennedy with the punt. A nice little quick kick there. He's going to bounce it all the way back. Nearly touched by that Bethel player, and he backs off at the last second. So Kennedy showing the skills, not just a passer, but also a kicker.
Yeah, I like that decision there. You can't go for it that far back with the score the way it is. Punt it, make Bethel go the full length of the field. The way that they've run the football, you've got running clock still because you had earned it. Once you earn running clock in high school, you don't lose it, right? So you earn the running clock. The clock was moving. The clock was going. So now that's part of your game plan. Bethel isn't going to throw the ball all over the yard. They haven't shown the ability to do that. Punt it, make them go the full way. And I'll tell you what, I don't know how that ball missed that Bison player.
I thought it perhaps touched him. From this angle, it looked like it, but obviously the officials with a much better vantage point in saying that it did not. Now we see Evan Barnes back in the game at quarterback after seeing the change for the 2-point conversion, and he's going to hand it off. That ball on the turf looks like Skyview has it.
You could see it. Pula and Barnes, they were both looking right at each other like, wait, you have the ball? No, I thought you had the ball. That's never going to be a good thing. That's a great recovery there by Arroyo?
Oriorio, yeah.
Oriorio.
And
thank you.
Great job there, too, from Skyview because Colton Capochi, was back there pushing the blocker back into his own man. So not a lot of space there for that handoff to happen. And Skyview recovers the fumble, and now they're just looking to grind this out with about a minute and a half left here in this football game.
Right, looks like a little victory formation, and that's exactly what they should be doing. It's a great job by Skyview. You played a great game offensively. Defensively, you like to finish it a little bit stronger, but you were also getting playing time for guys who you might need if someone goes down in your starting group, or, it's something that's great that you're building towards next year for the Storm. So this is a great opening round of the playoffs win for the Storm. Keep building on what you were doing. Loved how the offense looked in the first half, and the only reason you slowed down is because you started getting some younger guys some more reps.
Yeah, and of course, the weather playing a role towards the second half of the game perhaps. But in any case, like you said, a great opening round win here for Skyview. They join Camas, the number 1 seed from the Greater St. Helens League, and moving forward to the next round of the playoffs. And Battleground, as I mentioned, looks like they are going to be out. But some great representation here tonight from the 4A Greater St. Helens League.
Yeah, great job by Skyview. Offensively, it was the Gavin Packer show today. Guy absolutely balled out. But you know what? As an offensive unit, I was impressed with their skill players, the unselfishness to, hey, I'm not getting the ball in this play. I'm still going to go out and make a great block so that I can spring my buddy for a touchdown, because I know that there are going to be games where I have the mismatch, and I'm going to want guys to block for me. So the unselfishness of that Skyview offense to play was fantastic. And then defensively, you were undersized compared to those guys, but you used your speed and your quickness to beat a lot of the size that the Bethel Bison had on that offensive line unit in that running back position. It was a great game all around by the Storm. 49-21, but really it was closer to 49-14.
Yeah, and as these teams congratulate each other, an end of a season here for Bethel. It was hard for those players, but they can hold their heads up high. They played a good football game. They played their brand of football, and they're going to go home having done what they could do against a very talented Skyview team. And here's some highlights from the entire game. We start off with the Skyview smoke show, which I'll tell you, we were talking about this. Yes. Is it too much smoke? I think it is.
Well, it's an open-air stadium, so I think it's okay. You know who had too much smoke? It might have been Kevin Packer, because he was on fire all night. That's his first touchdown. That's the first offensive play of the game, taking the smoke screen to the end zone. Great play there by Pula, too, to just push himself into the end zone for Bethel.
Yeah, the big answer there early in the first quarter. And here's Kennedy rolling out and finding, guess who? Gavin Packer, who just pushes his way into the end zone. There's a lot of opportunities for that football to come out, holds on to it, and rolls into the end zone.
Well, and he didn't even fall down at the end. He took on 3 or 4 Bison there to get into the end zone. Easy.
There's that little out to Riley Artis wide open, and he rolls into the end zone, the first of his 2 touchdowns tonight, and I'm sure we'll see the other one here shortly. And here's Kennedy. He was just on all night, putting the ball in the right spot. You can see right there.
What a great throw that he had there to Packer, and then Packer doing the rest, making one guy miss. They threw 1 ball deep all game. I think they had 1 throw over probably 15 yards this entire game, maybe even 10, and that was it, getting into the end zone. Great job offensively.
And now to Gavin Poffenroth, the big tight end, earning that touchdown with a lot of great blocking earlier in the game. And here's this incredible return from Gavin Packer.
Here's the play coming out of halftime. What a great move that he had there to slow down the Bison defender. And then he's always running in a spot where his offensive players can help get a block for him. I don't think that Packer ever hit full speed there, and that was smart on his part, because he knew he's fast enough to where he can run at a clip to get his blockers in between him and the defenders. Great job.
Here's Artis' second touchdown on the little shoulder shrug from Kennedy, and
it was a great double move by him.
And then this is where it gets interesting for Bethel. They start doing Bethel things here. Pula with a great run up the middle, showing those legs we talked about.
Running through and running over everybody. Great two-point conversion.
And then the snap that went over Davis's head. You can see him kind of pull up lame there just on that run. And here's Pula again picking that football. Excuse me, that was not Pula.
Yeah, Lockley. Great play by him to get into the end zone. Stiff arm a Skyview Storm defender, but it ended up being a little bit too little too late for the Bison.
So, folks, this may be our last game of the year. We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what the seeding says. But after this performance, and with Skyview, I believe, at number 5 in the RPI, there's a pretty good chance we'll be back with you next week. We'll let you know as soon as we do. In any case, thank you so much for joining us tonight for this VPS Game Time broadcast. Will, thanks for coming. I know
thanks for having
you're
me.
a volunteer, and we love having you. So
I love being here. It's a quality program that you guys put on, and I always have a great time. And there's nothing better than watching that GSHL football victory, especially in the playoffs.
Exactly. So we are going to wrap things up, folks. Skyview holds on to win 49-21, and they're going to find out who they play in the state playoffs this week. And we thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, I'm Nick Voll, and saying goodnight for Will Ortner. Thanks for watching.